Hey, what's up, everyone? After so much, couple of few weeks, but it feels like forever that we were not back with our podcast. So everybody's thinking, what is the topic today? What's happened with Vika? Why this topic, right? Uh, the thing is, whoever is writing the screenplay of my life needs to write relax a bit, really. 2023 closing was crazy. I don't know for how it was for other people, but I know for me it was freaking crazy closing of 2023. 2023 was really awesome, especially because of the release and the making of the mechanical realm. Absolutely one of the most important year, but also a lot of different incident would happen which made this 2023 out of this world. I would say I made it, to 2024, like literally I could say. So the topic of today is related to that. It was not our topic because our topic was supposed to be the Maserat is Bible astrotheology. That was supposed to be before at the end of the December, but we couldn't. And it was supposed to be this week. Also, we couldn't because this topic was is supposed to happen before that one. So that's what we're gonna try to do. Yep. Stay with us because it's gonna be a journey to what really happened and what is all is this trying to show us for us to personally grow individually and collectively. So do get comfortable and grab your coffee or whatever makes you comfortable, and let's jump into it. My co-host, my good brother is there, Gene. Hey brother Gene, well, how are you, brother? How was your new year, your end of the year and the beginning and everything else, brother? How you been doing?
Hey, bro, what's up? Everything went well, I mean, yeah, 23 was such a world life changing year for me, in a lot of different ways, and it was kind of sad to see it ringing out, but I'm always looking forward, bro. And I had a good time off, and thought about all you guys during the time off, and I hope everybody had fun, good time seeing family and friends. Um, but great topic to start the new year off. I'm not a huge fan of calling it the new year though, but we will date it that way since it's kind of known that way. But this is the end of the season for me, and I'm already enjoying the return of the sun, and I'm noticing that we get that 2 minutes roughly every day, and every once in a while you really notice it. When the timing at 5 o'clock is a week or so later, and the sun is that much difference. That's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the spring and the new year for nature. All right. But yeah, so great to see everybody, guys. I'm very real excited to hear about what this topic's going to bring tonight. I'm happy to see you all. Um, Queen M, Dr. Frankstein, Robin. Really good to see everybody. And so let's go. Yeah, bro. Great to see you too, and Evelyn. I hope your friend comes on, and we've got some really cool stuff to cover. This is the angelic story of the cascade of the divine illumination, and we're going to start at the top of it with the seraphim and how different angels have their different jobs, and what the seraphim do, and how it's connected to all of us, where consciousness is the non-physical controlling the physical, and those messages we get from where I would think are these angels. So yeah, guys, Can't wait to hear what goes on tonight. And welcome everyone.
Oh yeah, absolutely, brother. We are so glad we all are back again. And yeah, uh, this is the thing. The whole angel concept and belief in different cultures, right? And we are specifically discussing seraphim because the whole event and everything what happened is connected to that. That's why we will be only trying to cover the seraphim, the whole different kind of angels from the different levels. It's a whole pod could be a podcast on each of them, all right? But why we are going to be discussing only mostly the seraphim, because that's the connection is right there, the message is right there. So awesome, brother. We're gonna get in deeper on that. And yes, our next panelist is Evelyn. Evelyn, how are you?
Hi, how are you guys? I'm now taking a break from the holidays. Excited to be back, full of energy. So nice to see you guys. Always always very interesting to hear your your views about the things that we talk about here. So um I do have a guest, and she is gonna try to get online. I send her the link, and hopefully she'll be able to work it out. It's not that difficult with with a StreamYard. So I you'll probably see her within, yeah, maybe within the half an hour. Maybe she'll be able to connect. So you'll see her appearing in your StreamYard.
Cool. Cool. Anyone is welcome. Anyone is welcome. Anyone who thinks, even from our chat, who's there on the YouTube chat,
Mm.
that want
Yeah,
to add
she's
something is always welcome. Yeah.
yeah, she's also in the Facebook group. So she's not how to say she's not a stranger to these things. Um, I think she went to Christian school, biblical school. She's been studying in the Bible for most of her life, I think. But well, maybe she can tell you herself a bit about her um, yeah, spiritual education or whatever you want to call it. So
The topic of today, Evelyn and
yes.
everyone else, that we are not, just because there is the word seraphim there, it doesn't mean that we are going to be focusing on the religious part, because
Yes.
seraphim is in Christianity, so that people can understand what we are speaking about. But it's just also a representation. In different cosmologies, you have different representation of these angels
hmm
or these entities, right? So
Yes.
so just that the people know that we are not trying to push any religion, or
Oh no
or
no.
or not like, no, that we are only trying to discuss it from all perspective, just to make it easy. Oh,
hmm
I'm putting the word there, seraphim, all right? Even
Yes.
though the word seraphim have different meanings according to different cultures, right? Even because in the Hebrew, there some are saying that it means fire. In another, it's saying it means serpent, because the word ser is there, right? So for us, it's not that it's important. For important is that there is a meaning of these entities, which is very similar in other cosmologies, right? So the thing is, the timing of all these things is crazy. Okay, that's why this topic, it just come out of nowhere. wasn't programmed,
Hmm.
and it
It
came
was
up this
just,
topic.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's the chain of events that have been happening and what we've been talked about, or what we are been,
exactly.
talking about. It's just, it was a natural way. It was a natural, how do you say, yeah, chain of events that have led us to be talking about this kind of stuff. This kind
Exactly.
of, yeah.
Exactly. And it
And
wasn't. Yeah, go ahead.
so I think everything just, when you're on the right path, everything just seems to fall into the good place, into a good direction. And just like when I started my waking up, path, or way, whatever you want to call it. Um, I came across things in in a certain um, in a certain way. And for me that was, just the right amount, just the right information to get me going to the next thing, to the next revelation, so to speak, to the next conspiracy, to the next thing, and it's just a very natural, um, yeah, way of things happening when you're on the right path, I think.
Exactly. The creator has some way to communicate
Yes.
between the realms of this material and the spiritual, right? So these kind of
In
events is not new. People do have the kind of
mm,
experiences, right? Even in the
yes.
antiquity, even now, that only proves that there is a reality to that. It's no fiction. It's no any fantasy. It's no any
Mm.
mythology. Even though it's been buried in that, but it's
Yes, indeed. I think that if oh, the coffee machine. I think if I had come across, or when I would come across some some deep conspiracy, I would just push it away like, no, that's too much. That no, no, just go away. That's too much. So if I had, if I have been finding out and getting deeper in 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 the good, um, in the good way, in the good steps, because the smaller thing took me to the a bit bigger thing, and then a bit bigger thing, and then a bit bigger thing, and to the point that I'm thinking, if I had heard this a year ago, I would, well, and I did think it. uh, I hear this now, and I'm thinking, if I hear it a year ago, I declare the people who say it, as crazy, as too much. You're
exactly.
gone too deep. You're gone too deep. You're really derailing yourself. So, like all these, uh, transgender artists. I mean, a year ago, I'm thinking, oh my God, these people, they're really in too deep. I mean, they are just now saying anything. This is okay. I'm gonna put it aside and just, just let it go. But now, but nowadays, I'm like, yeah, yeah. Oh, look, this one. Oh, yeah. Suddenly, and it sometimes I find it so funny um because yeah, a year ago I wouldn't be even considering that, and now I'm like pointing out, to myself, pointing out all these um, transgender artists, and and I'm like, yeah, nothing surprises me anymore.
Oh yeah, the other thing is, um, I especially don't have anything to do with Christianity, right?
Hmm.
And how is it possible that I have experienced something like this, right? To make it a little bit more clear, like, let's speak about visions. What is visions, right? Okay, if we speak about you know people like Ezekiel, Isaiah, Enoch, Moses, what did these people really had? These people had in contact. These people had a vision. Okay. Now, if somebody else has this vision, people will call it hallucination, will call crazy to somebody who's having these kind of visions. So people, just because these experiences of these saints made it into the book, that's why people believe in these visions, right? There are many other people who were on this earth who had these kind of contacts or visions in every different cultures, right? It's one of the most I cannot say it's the most common thing, but it's a possibility, right? But not everybody shares that experience. Not everybody maybe sometimes believe in that experience, because sometimes even if you see some things, it's hard for yourself to believe that this happened, right? So keeping that in mind, people at different stages of life, even especially if you are more than a half a century old, right? Different kind of experiences happen, different stages of your life. We are always getting rebirth in consciousness, because we aren't the same from the time we are born to from the time we are teenagers to adults to middle age. There are things happen, we evolve, we learn, we grow. When we look ourselves back, we see that we are, even if it's a month, a day, a year, or 10 year, we are trying to be better, grow, understand things better in life, right? So we all have that kind of inner awakenings, right? So there are many experiences. We cannot go in all the experiences that happen in our life, even if you could be a bit of enlightened, but there is always there to learn and grow and transform, right? So that being said, I have had experiences, magical experiences like this in form of visions. Okay, there are people who meditate, there are people who do breathing, there are people who do many different entheogenics. There are different ways of having these visions. I don't know what Ezekiel took, or Enoch, or Moses, or I don't know, or not. I want to know. I just know that these people had visions, whatever was the way, but they had those visions. And there are different ways in different cultures who have visions like this, when you are connected to these frequencies, which could be also in a dream, right? But the point is to have those connections and those dreams, right? So I've had experiences with entities like, when I was more younger, when I was more new, kind of connected with the light, when I was maybe 20 years ago, right? I had experiences where I met or seen some entities like Buddha, maybe, I have literally. But, there comes a point, maybe you wouldn't share this, but there comes a point when everything just connects. And that's why maybe I'm sharing this today, right? I have had experiences in one of the visions that I see Buddha. This have nothing to do with Christianity, but I saw it. I even don't have anything to do with Buddhism, but I still saw it, right? There was it was fraction of few seconds, but there is that connection. Whatever was the reason, whatever was the state, whatever was the setting, I don't want to go in details about that, right? And then there was another, and also related to other religion, right? Hinduism, right? Where I see another entity. So other than this, I have had many other different visions of places, of different beings, all very good, right? Because as Jean know, right, my understanding and my connecting the dots, or my whatever is my conscious or whatever, it's all come for me, it comes from the other side. Okay. I am being, I don't know, because I feel this transformation, uh, right. I don't know if you guys could sense some difference in me, but I feel that difference. I cannot really explain it. So that's being said, that it's possible to have visions. So during the making of the mechanical realm, okay, at the end of the almost while completing the mechanical realm, as I said, 2023 was awesome in itself. You guys remember I also shared an experience about that, on the highway and everything, all connecting to with the TMR. So it's all was connecting with the TMR. So during that time, as I was completing the TMR, sometimes when you're surfing, when you're doing things, you see some video or some text or something. We just, when you see, it's like, it's, you feel like it's trying to give you a message, you feel synchronized, no, right? You are, sometimes it just, things show up to you and you feel like, why is it like that, right? And sometimes you really relate to it and sometimes you don't, right? Have you guys felt like that ever? Like you're watching something and something comes up and you say, wow, what is that? Is that synchronized or something, and you're on your mind, or no, but it's just there. Have you guys happened something like that? You're watching
Yeah.
something and something shows up.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it happens like, on TV or watching reels or whatever, real life in the store. Things like that happen a lot.
Mm.
And then sometimes
Um,
it's in retrospect also. You don't realize it while it's happening, but you realize it an hour or a day or so later, a week later.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I was just there, like during the completion of the mechanical realm, and I just come up and a short comes up, on I think on TikTok, or maybe it wasn't even YouTube, and something showed up and it said, like, the seraphims are gonna meet you. Okay, the seraphims are gonna meet you. Don't be scared. Be prepared, and you will be tested. Right, something like this. I just saw it and I was like, I didn't pay attention to it, but I felt like, why, and I just doing my things, so it wasn't in my mind too, right? So I thought, maybe I thought 1 2 time would test, right? Test you and gonna meet, and so it wasn't really out of the world for me, because I tell you, I cannot go in all of the experiences of everything that, it's just, I cannot define it in words, okay, in reality. So 2 weeks after that, almost like just before the release, i I was in my, I do my sessions where I connect with the divine, somebody is telling here in the chat, visions are another form of deception in this matrix. Yeah, maybe that's your way of seeing it, right? Because maybe for you, the visions, what you think are from your two eyes, maybe, okay, that's why you think it's a deception. Because once you really see the vision, you will see that this is the matrix. What you're seeing with your two eyes is the matrix. And once you see the with your real eyes, you are out of the matrix, because you see what it is. Okay, just throwing it out there. So after a couple of weeks, I was doing my connection session, and literally in the middle of it, I get to see the supposed seraphim. I don't know. I All I can say is that I cannot really define it in words. I try to do a sketch, okay, a rough sketch, okay. I will see if I can. You guys can show you. It's not even 0.00001% of what I saw. Okay, what I'm going to show you, multiply that by millions of time in beauty, in details. Okay, then I will go in deeper into it. Let me see if I can share screen. Okay, let me see. Americana. No. All right, you guys can see something?
Something's coming up. Yes.
You see some eyes and all this stuff?
Yes.
All right, this is my rough sketch of what I saw. Okay, you can see it's signed by me below. Vikka Draziv 1/1/2024. Okay, this is made by me. Okay, it's a rough drawing of what I saw. This is nothing. This is multiplied by million times in detail, totally moving,
Yeah.
totally alive.
Yes.
I
Those are indeed described in Job. Was it? Was it Job
No,
or
it's in Isaiah
Isaiah,
also. Isaiah, in
and Isaiah
Isaiah.
the six
Yeah,
wings.
with
the
six
six wings.
wings
Yeah.
and the eye in the middle?
No, but it's not one eye. It's full of
It's
eyes.
it's it's
It's
full of
full
eyes.
of
Yes.
eyes. It's full of
Yes. It's
eyes in everywhere, in every how do you say, sizes, in every
yes.
direction, in every color.
Yes. This
It's
indeed
out of this
is
world.
a seraphim. Yes.
It's out of this world. It's crazy. Okay.
Mm.
This
That's why
is
it's hard to describe.
That's God getting your attention.
holy. I cannot believe it was so radiant. It was so beautiful. It was like
Yeah.
there was no communication. It was just witnessing them. And there were few in different, they had a, how do you say, a kind of mm, a dominant color, like all around, but then all the between were all different colors, all mixed. There are many different descriptions and paintings, and even a how do you say, old paintings of the seraphims. I tell you, it's all, even this one, I feel it's very ugly, but because that so was so beautiful, I cannot nor define it in words, nor I can draw. You know i uh, uh I draw. I'm not a very like amazing artist. I've not drawn for many years now. So but this made me draw again because I couldn't put it in words. And even like this, I'm saying it's nothing, right?
Mm.
A human cannot define it, how much is the beauty of these things. Okay, and I was like, I'm like, why, right? I'm like, I didn't question it. I just it was just moments, and was just the present, and was there maybe 15-20 seconds. I had that vision, and then I continued with other things, right?
Yeah.
In that journey. But
Mm.
right there I was like, whoa, like was too fast, right? It was too fast. And I was like, how is that possible, right? And I continued. I was like, all right, maybe it was like because of the TMR and the information that is in it, because the TMR, the mechanical realm, is also about about the Antikythera mechanism and the North Pole and the throne, you know, because it's all connecting to many different things. Okay, will get into that a bit ahead, but that was the visions. Okay, and maybe and I thought maybe the test, maybe it's a test. It's gonna be about if you are really have that value in you to bring this information here, because literally I wasn't supposed to share this. Okay, I wasn't supposed to share this too, this experience, but it was said that you need to share this too, because I cannot keep it to myself. Okay, because there is it's why, what, how, I don't have all the answers of why this happened. Okay, but it continues. It's gonna continue. All right, because there's something that happened also connecting to this that's out of this world. Because as I say, 2023 was 2023 ending was crazy. All right. So after that, the TMR release, everything's good. You know, everything's flowing good. Was everything amazing? And then on 18th of December, we had this podcast. We were supposed to have this podcast. Mazarot is Bible astrotheology. You guys remember, right?
Yeah.
And everything was scheduled. I am in my studio. 5 minutes before the live could start, I was in the studio. I was in the stream yard. Gene almost entered, and I was supposed to put Gene in the studio so we could start the show. So my studio, Gene knows that I have a big prefabricated house only for my studio, and also a few rooms. So my teenage kid has another room. I'm in another one with my studio. You know, he was going to his room and going to our main house. You know, a few meters there, and I was really cold. I was full with my pants, with my jackets, and even with my gloves. Was so cold that night. Okay, on 18th, 1 week before Christmas. Okay, all the timings are crazy. Okay, so I already had forgot about the Seraphim and all these things. Okay, I had already forgot about it. Right, after a few weeks. So okay, somebody else was gonna join. Is there Meg? Yeah, one moment. Hey, hey Meg, how are you?
Hi,
We are
how are
we
you
are
guys?
doing we are doing audio. If you it's not so it doesn't get lag too. If you
That's
want,
totally
we
fine. How do
all
I
right.
turn the video off?
Just below you see say stop cam, or you will have an
Just
option.
come with the stripe.
All
Yes.
right.
Is that right?
Yep, that will
Okay,
do. How are you doing, Meg?
I'm okay. How are you guys?
Awesome, awesome. Tell us about yourself, Meg.
Uh, I don't know. I'm just regular, everyday Jane, and I deeply contemplate life and God and just everything. I'm so distressed at the troubles that I'm seeing around the world, and I've been worried about this since I was a kid, but I didn't realize how bad it was, till I got to be an adult. And by the time I was close to 30, I really could see there was a major problem in the world. So I'm just here because I love Evelyn. She's wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
And hi, Evelyn. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Nice to hear you live having a
Yeah.
conversation.
And Vikka, is that how you say your name? Did I say it
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen some of your videos and I'm really impressed with you guys. You're doing a great thing here on the internet, and I just want to contribute anything I can. So I'm struggling a lot in my own life, I've been under massive abuse pretty much my whole life. So when people ask me how I'm doing, I would say, considering everything, it's amazing. It's always amazing when we can just see God working in and through our lives and see hope in the midst of really difficult times. I think that we've just got to keep a positive perspective on things like that. And I'm hoping that through talking about whatever topic you guys are wanting to talk about tonight, that I can help uplift anybody out there that's struggling. And one of the things that just makes me have a vivacious love and luster for life is having a connection with the Holy Spirit and learning so much. I feel like every day I grow, and it makes the troubles and the sufferings pale in comparison, because the more truth we get, the more light we get in our soul, and the more that we shine our light to others, and the more that they can feel our love. And we're never perfect, but we can really shed an amazing light on down into the darkness of other people's souls that are, I'm not saying that they're bad, it's that they feel really hopeless, you know, and to just try to spread the encouragement around. So I would love to hear the topic you guys were talking about. I was at the store, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that this was starting. And yeah, I just decided I'm just going to jump in here because I actually feel okay today. My health isn't doing too badly. So I really don't know what we're talking about, though. If you guys want to talk a little bit and I can hear what you're saying, and then jump in. I feel bad.
We are speaking about an event or an experience that happened at the end of the year, and we are trying to share it with our community, like, you know. So yeah, the thing is, you know, we should live every day as if it's your last, right? That's enough for us to live and to wake up and do good things, right? That's enough. We don't need anything else in this world for us to go down or feel bad or whatever the experiences of life brings to us, because in the end it's all for us. Whatever is happening to us is because it's supposed to happen to us for our growth, for our understanding of our karmic debt that we have to clear, right? So even the worst things in life happens because it needs to happen for our growing. You know, even the worst things have a positive effect on it, a positive meaning on it. When we are down, when we are not really going good, is the part where we learn the most, right? And life is about ups and downs, right? It's like a day. You have the sun, and the sun rise and the sun sets, right? Life is about what up and down and the waves of going up and down, right? If not, it's gonna be very boring, very constant, be very very negative, right? So nothing. So we are discussing this about the angel, the experience that something happened in these few weeks, and we were into it in the middle of it, trying to expand on it. So you can hear, and if you whenever you want to add or jump in, you're welcome, Meg.
Can I say one thing to what you just said there? Because I really appreciate that you said that. And as you were speaking, the Holy Spirit was saying to me to tell you guys, the things that we suffer with in life are actually tapping back to our core desires. We each have these really intense, deep desires. We might not be conscious of it, but we might have a real desire to really serve God with our full heart, or really know what it is to trust Him fully in hard circumstances, or really have courage in the face of oppression, or to have the courage to stand up and speak the truth and speak up for people who are marginalized or victimized. We have these deep desires, and there's all kinds of deep desires we all have. But God showed me so many times that I would ask Him, why did you let me suffer this? And He would tell me, do you remember when you were a little girl and you asked me the specific thing, would I help you to either acquire this certain character quality, like have more faith, or have more wisdom? I used to pray really specific things, and my mom would always say, don't pray for that, because then God's going to give you troubles. And I said, but isn't it that I would need those things, you know, as part of my character? So then as I went through suffering, I kept feeling like, oh no, I caused this to myself from praying for it. And what God told me after I'd been through a lot of suffering, He said, no, I had you pray for it when you were little because I knew you were going to need it when you were older. And He told me that the things that He allowed in my life was because it was my deepest heart's desire. And I was so scared that I was going to have to go through the kind of trials that I knew I'd have to go through in order to get those character qualities that I really wanted. But I really wanted to be made fully mature spiritually. And I didn't know what that looked like or how to get there. But it was my deepest heart's cry. And I really believe that that is everybody's deepest heart cry. And that's why when we look at our situation and we say, what deep character quality or trait, or what kind of thing, like maybe a connection to the Holy Spirit, like we really want to feel like we know God personally and like we see Him in and through our life, what kinds of deeper needs and desires that are really good, that are righteous, what kinds of things are being met, and what ways am I growing and developing to achieve that? What ways is God helping me to achieve that through the suffering? Because sometimes, He lets us go through the suffering. We think it's the devil doing it, and I think he tricks us, because God came to me one day and He showed me that He was the one that was refining me, and that the devil tried to make me think that it was all these other people doing all this mean stuff to me, but God was already in the work of refining me, like you would refine gold. And the devil just poured enough hell on my life to make me think that it was the devil doing it. And God told me, no, I did it. I was fashioning you. I was forming you. So I hope that that helps somebody. I really appreciate what you just said, because it kind of sparked that thought in my own mind as the Holy Spirit and I were talking. I'm always trying to talk to Him while I'm talking to people, even while I'm just thinking, because I just want to make sure I'm always checking myself, and doing like a constant audit of what are my thoughts? Are they in alignment with truth? And I find this very delightful. Whereas when I used to do this when I was younger, I found it exhausting. Now it's a way of life for me. So that's kind of what the Holy Spirit was putting on my heart there. So I'd really love to hear what you guys are saying, though, about the angels and everything.
Oh yeah, exactly. And the thing is that if we don't experience the dark, how we gonna appreciate the light? If we're not gonna suffer,
Absolutely.
how we gonna enjoy the triumph, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all interconnected. Getting back to the topic, I was so on this day, 5 minutes before this topic of the podcast on 18th of December, I was just 5 minutes before. Gene was almost in the studio. I was supposed to just add him. Okay, so I was in my studio, and my son room, he normally is there. He goes to the other house, he comes and goes, right? And I was about to go put Gene in the studio to start the topic of Mazzaroth is Bible astrotheology. And my son just comes in running, and he shouts at me and he says, "Fire in my room." I just listened, and I thought some short circuit happened, right? And I go running to his room. It's maybe 7-8 meters there, and I just see go in his room, and I see his mattress was on fire. Okay, what had happened? Okay, what happened that I came to know later, that my son is a teenage. He's 16 years. Okay, we all know that many teenagers now, they smoke vape pens. Okay, so what had happened, we'll go in detail about those vape pens later, but what happened is that vape pen kind of exploded, caught fire. He wasn't there, but he came in time and he saw that, and he told me. Okay, so when I go to his room and I was like, what the hell? It was smoke and fire, like almost 2 foot of hole in the mattress, and smoke in the room with this. And I go inside to see if I can take it out, and the heat and the smoke wouldn't let me. Okay, I had a fire extinguisher in the other house. Okay, and I told my son to go out, and I just stood there for a fraction. happened, what I'm going to tell you is in all less than 3 or 4 minutes. Okay. So I sent my son out, and I just saw that again, and I said, holy shit, if I move from here for anything else, I wouldn't be, I cannot enter it again. And I need to take this shit out. Okay. So I don't know how, because in my first attempt, I tried, I couldn't, because there was a table in the hallway too, and it was like full of smoke. So I just stood there for a fraction of a second, and holy shit, if I don't take this out, it's gonna burn my whole house. So I don't know what the fuck. I pushed the table in the hallway aside. I went into that room. How the free how do you say, prefabricated house are. Even if they are huge, the rooms are not very big, right? And filled with smoke and everything. I don't know how I got that courage. I went inside. I grabbed the mattress and I dragged it out all the way and I threw it outside. Okay. So while taking that, I don't know how I was so prepared for the cold. I didn't know I had the gloves almost like melted. Yeah. And when I was dragging this mattress out, I was like, the fire caught me on my pants and on my jacket on my waist. But just because I was dressed up, it didn't burn me. But I was literally, I took it out and I threw it, and in this moment my wife came and my son also came, and there was few pieces burning there. My wife tried to pick up and throw. What happened is that my son, he didn't get nothing. He's good, nothing. But in the end, I burned 4 of my fingers. Okay, my wife a bit too, a little bit, but the main was me, because I took it out, and so it was almost like my 4 fingers from the top, a little bit of burn. My tips, it's not burned, but it's hardened because of the heat. And literally, guys, if I don't act in that moment, and if I don't take it out, I would have my whole 20 grand prefabricated house studio would have burned to ashes. All right. And I was like shocked. I said, what the fuck? What? And I came, and once I throw it out, it wasn't over. Okay, because I live in off grid, and I have trees all around my house, like a forest, right? And I threw it out, and still it wasn't off, right? So I had to go to my other wooden house where I have the generator with my hands burning, and I had to on the generator on the fire water system and start spraying water, and I control the whole thing. Okay.
I am so sorry
Sitting
that you
there,
went
what
through
the
that. That's horrible. I'm so proud of you for stepping in and taking faith and courage and just doing what you need to do. I'm so sorry though. I'm sorry. I just feel like I have to say I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you
no,
though.
no worries. No worries. The thing is, I don't know how, because there were moments, in that adrenaline, we never know what a human is capable of, right? Uh and I couldn't imagine after how the hell did I do it, right? And I didn't care about anything in that moment. Okay. Because when I saw all the things that was burned, that it didn't touch my skin, but I was on freaking half fire, right? The only things I burned is my fingers. Okay. But that experience, I could have fucking died there because of inhalation of smoke, or trying to take it out, or you imagine a room filled with smoke with burning freaking mattress. Yeah, imagine. So I was like, holy shit. And this is all a week before Christmas. Okay. And I'm like, what the hell? We were shocked. We got over it. I had to cure my hand. We had to cure our hand. I'm already good. Uh, But the moment was like, why, right? In that moment, why? But I could feel that sense that there was a presence which gave me that courage to go and take it out. Because as I said, I don't know, I am 50 years old, I'm going to be completing 50 this year. Things are happening. I have had few small experiences, incidents with fire, very small, nothing serious, because you live in nature, you things, but this was like, wow. I don't know, there's a significance of fire and everything with it. I don't know why, but it happened. I felt like I could have died in that moment. Okay, I could have, in the adrenaline and what we're not caring, right? And I could have, right, but I didn't. But because this all this reflected only after, right? Why and how, and I still didn't understand. I don't understand everything out of it. I have some ideas why and what, but I was like, we were shocked, and just so after a few days, when for me that the things calmed down, I like, why this happened to me, why? And then suddenly things start realizing about the fire. Say fire, fire, fire. And then that things about the seraphim came up, right? The fiery ones, they are also known the fiery ones, right? uh Connected to fire. So it's for me, I felt like it was a test. So I realized that this was the test for me, right? So just that you have big mouths, or you also have got big whatever, I don't want to use the word, right? Because if I have to do this again anywhere, I don't know if I would be able to do it. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? uh, that I was really surprised at how the fuck this happened and how everything, because when you see in that moment, so all these things I told you, less than 3 minutes, but in that 3 minutes you see everything that happened, right? You could see many things happen. There's a lot of messages right there. We know fire is transformation. For me, it felt like I had touched the God in a way, right? Because when I start connecting the dots about why I saw these seraphims, I don't have nothing to do with Christianity. I said, I don't know why. So why I saw these seraphims, and as I was said, you're gonna be tested, and this happened, and after I realized this was the test in a way, right? Why, right? And it changed a lot on me. I cannot define in which ways, but it's like a transformation happened in me, right? That's why I don't know if you guys saw, I posted my photo with Phoenix rising. It's crazy, and the timing of everything. You guys seen my how do you say, uh, my intro? You see the intro of mine? It's with fire. I don't know how it happened. This is before the fire, right? I don't know, the subconscious was playing it or why it came. Now I can say I literally earned that intro, that I am between the fire there. Okay, I literally earned that intro. So fire represents transformation, fire represents purification, fire represents a lot of things. Okay, and it's all connected. It's all connected. As I said, I cannot explain what transformation it gave me, because this is the thing in life. There are stages, and there's a stage where things happen that you just need to go to the next level. For me, this was almost going to the next level, because it's all connected. My son, he gave up on smoking vape pens, because he saw that how this vape pen made this shit, right? And that his father had to risk his life to fucking save his house, right? He saw that. And what happened? The transformation. My son, who's a teenager, has become a man. You can see that he's fucking become a man. He's more responsible. He's doing things like a man now, right? Many things, it's many different things connected, right, to this. We all have our own evolution. There have to be some connection for my wife too, to have something out of this, of her own evolution, right? It's all interconnected. I cannot go deeper on that, but what I would say about me is this, right? I was like, why, right? Why? So the thing is, you have to take the good of even the worst things happen in life, because for me, it's not, I'm not saying why, and I'm not or sad or why my hand is burned. For me, this is like it's a mark. For me, this is like a mark, like a touch of God. You guys see in the photo where the human is touching the God with a finger, with 4 fingers, right? I don't know why. I'm not saying which God is real or which God exists. For me, it was creator, right? Why the seraphims? The seraphims, out of all the angels, they are of the highest order. Okay? Why the seraphims? They are supposed to be at the throne of the God, right? Or the creator, right? So I don't know why so close to the creator was this experience. And I tell you, I feel this purification with this fire that I cannot define in words. Really. The same way I cannot define the image, what we saw, what I shared. I cannot really define the reality, how it looks and how it is. The same way I cannot really define the transformation of what this could be, right?
I think Meg is missing the important bit
Oh,
when
maybe
when
because I was gonna say, yeah.
when he had a vision. It was a split second, was it, Vikka? Of
Yeah, for 20 seconds, 20 seconds
20
maybe.
seconds. Oh wow,
Yeah.
a split second. That's that's an eternity.
And what was the vision?
He saw a seraphim.
And this was before he went in the fire?
Yeah, it was a
Just a
couple of
month
weeks.
before.
A month
Yeah, a
A
before.
month
month.
before. Yeah.
I got 2 spiritual messages for you while you were talking, and I don't know if you're okay with me sharing these. Otherwise, I can wait till after. If you'd like
Oh,
me
go
to just
ahead.
message you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I get visions too, and I don't judge these things. I don't know. I just keep telling God, I don't understand. Can you tell me? I don't understand. Can you tell me more? Until it makes sense. I could see you in a room, and there's a window next to the bed. Is that correct? Is there a window in that room?
Oh, yeah.
So what I was shown was these angels that are, a while back, years ago, I was shown that angels were forged in fire. And that's why the lake of fire is the only thing that can destroy them. But so there's something having to do with fire. I'm not going to pretend to understand that, but there's certain angels that can enter into fire because they're made of fire, just like with Daniel, not Daniel and Einstein, sorry, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I mean, in the Bible, I'm not sure if you guys say the names the same way, but they were put in the fiery furnace, and everybody says it was the Messiah that was in there with them. I mean, if it's someone sent from God, it really doesn't even matter if it was God himself, the Messiah, or an angel. But there are certain types of angels that can protect. And I got messages for you that if they had not been there, it would have been worse and you would have died. I also got messages that when you first started talking, I got a message that I don't know what it was that was going to happen with your son, but it was something in his room, and it had to do with his bed, and it had to do with whatever he was smoking, that this was going to end up leading to prolonged suffering, leading to death, and that the fire was to save his life from that, because it made him realize that this was a problem. And I don't know, sorry, I'm a little, that it makes me sad to think that something would happen. I've had the same kind of things happen in my life where God will allow something that is very terrible to prevent from something worse. And he's shown me that. And it's hard for us to accept that. It's painful because it's like, well, but why can't we just avoid all the troubles. But maybe, I don't know, maybe sometimes our choices don't quite line up with us avoiding the trouble completely. And so he helps us. I also, just like you do, I believe in the creator. And I would always talk to him as the one who designed all that is, the one who created everything that is, and the one who sustains everything that is. He's the one who will judge us in the end. And I would always say, that's the one I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to any other gods or false gods. I just want to talk to the one true God. So I agree with you on that. And the messages that I just got very strongly, and I feel it, that this was to save your son. This was to
Oh,
save your son from something very
just
bad.
to
And
just
you were told
you are
ahead.
the you are the second or third person who have said that.
I believe that, because that's called confirmations. And the things I'm hearing you talk about, even though I'm only getting little blips of this, the Holy Spirit's kind of patching some of the spiritual side of it together for me, even though I don't know the physical story completely. And I'm hearing you say a lot of things that I recognize in my own life as confirmations when they happen for me. And so God's putting all these things together for you, all these different pieces. You're talking about the phoenix rising from the ashes, and I don't know what your picture is for your profile of fire, but this all has to do with this vision you got of these fire angels, and then the fire came, and this was to encourage you ahead of time and maybe kind of pre-warn you. So sometimes I think we get pre-warning so we're a little bit more on our toes, if it makes sense to say it that way, so that we're listening. Sometimes right before a bad event happens in my life, the Holy Spirit will tell me ridiculous things to do. Like he'll tell me in the middle of the night, stand up, walk around, go check all the kids, or go check all the doors. Or he'll tell me, turn right, turn left, here or there when I'm driving. And I'll be like, okay, why is there something wrong? And then I'll just obey. And afterwards he'll say, no, I'm just preparing you. I'm just trying to keep the connection strong so that when you need it, it's there. And then usually something quite bad will happen after that. And if I listen, then I oftentimes will avoid all of the suffering. But if I don't listen, there's been times I didn't listen and I suffered so bad. So I don't know how people want to attribute it, if they want to attribute it to God or angels or just spiritual realm energies or ancestors or what, or maybe our higher self. I don't really personally care how people need to view it in order for them to feel comfortable. It's more just listen to that. So I feel like this was actually a blessing in disguise for you, but I'm so sorry about your hand, and I will pray that you heal. And like you said, it's a mark. This is going to remind you, and as you go through your life in the future, your memory is going to be brought back to this point, and I can feel it, that there's more things that you're going to be learning in your spiritual walk that's going to somehow tie back into this, but it's going to have to do with your own spiritual development, just as we're all developing, like we all are. I'm constantly developing. I feel like I've barely scratched the surface, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know that it's for a higher purpose, for the growth, individually and collectively, right? I understand that and I respect that totally. But the thing is also that the one who saves is bigger than the one who destroys, because it's the same because in those moments, when I think back, in those moments, in those fractions of seconds, I remember that it was like as if you are alone, but you are not alone. You feel like, even if it's in the most worst situation, God, the creator or angel or whatever you want to call it, it's there, right? Because if you see the drawing of the seraphim I shared before, as I said, it's full of eyes, right? It also is representing that the creator is always watching your thought, your feelings, your emotions, right? No matter where you are, even if we are millions and billions, and we might think that we are lost here, and God don't have, or the creator don't have time for you to save you in this moment, or give you that courage or energy to face that situation, right? It was a test. It was so intense and shocking, but I am so glad that it happened, right? Right. And I'm so glad that we all are good. There's literally no damage of property, other than some few things burning. But there's a lot of things to learn and to take from this, right? I don't know what it has in for the future for this, but as I said, it was supposed to be shared. That's why I am sharing, right? And I felt this moment of that, yes, the creator is always watching you, and that's what I feel that I get from this, right? And that he's there with you, right? And in the moment, he makes you show the right way, right? As I said, uh, he's gonna test you. Are you worthy, right? For me, even also, it's like literally first was these visions being so close to the creator, because this seraphim is supposed to represent the throne of God, the throne of the creator, right? That close. Are are are, are we worthy of it? I don't know. I don't know. But then with this experience, with this, you feel it's like you are merged, you have become, right, the the part of the divine, the part of the creation, right? Because I I don't know if you guys have seen. I have another photo of mine from a few years ago on my Facebook. But when I was a younger, I used to play that stick. The stick of fire. You put fire on the two side of the sticks, and you play that around you. I don't know how it's called here. I used to do that on the beach with the fire. So I know what's being close to the fire. And when you do that, you are really pumped up, because you are literally cleaning your energy body with the fire, because you're playing that stick and it's moving around you, you're moving around it, right? You get pumped up. So I know what is that feeling of having that fire near. But this was crazy was in one moment, because it was not only about taking the thing dragging, because that thing was freaking melting and was splashing everywhere, and it was those 3 minutes was out of this world. It has so many things compact into that. But it's crazy. It might have many other meanings that I can think of, or maybe I think it could be, but I tell you, I cannot all I of what it could be, right? It's like touched by God, like.
You had to go into a situation that's terrified you, and
I'm not. Yeah, really, I'm not.
it,
I was shocked, but yeah.
yeah. Well, in the
But
moment,
in my. Yeah.
sometimes we just know we have to act, and so we don't let the fear take over as much, but then we realize, oh my gosh, but we realize how terrified we were. It took all your attention. It literally confiscated every bit of attention you had, and you were totally focused on that, and you might have been trying to keep calm. But I've been through situations, not with that, but where I instantly had to jump to try to save, us in a car accident even. So I know what that fear is like, of that rush where of adrenaline, where you're like, I have to act right now or else we're going to die, or else we're going to, something bad's going to happen. But the thing is, as you were talking to, I was like, I'm sitting on this live with you guys, just saying, okay, Holy Spirit, if I told him, if he doesn't tell me anything to say, I'm probably not going to say anything, because I don't really feel like I have something to contribute in and of myself. But I know that he works through all of us, and I know he can do a lot. And so as he's telling me things, I'm wanting to just share them with you guys, because that's what I was asking him for. And he was showing me that you reach a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that are going to hear about your story and your courage. And it's not only going to help them in their personal lives to step in when they need to and have courage to try to deal with something that's terrifying, even if we keep calm, even if our approach to it is to think level-headedly, and if we don't feel overwhelmed with terror. But it's a terrifying situation, and we have to face that with that courage. And them just hearing you talk about this is going to really encourage them to step into situations that they might need to do something too. And obviously we have to use wisdom, just like you did. Is this the kind of thing where you step in and you do something to try to fix it? Or is this the kind of thing where you just get out of there and accept the loss, but just make sure everybody's saved? It's a hard decision to make. Just the other day, it's very ironic you just said this, because my entire house filled with smoke because my daughter accidentally left coconut oil in a pan that she was trying to heat up in order to make something. She forgot about it. She's 17. and my entire house filled with smoke. And so even though we did not have the same situation as you at all, and I'm not comparing our situations, it struck a terror through me of wondering, oh my gosh, what is it that's on fire? Because by the time we realized there was smoke everywhere, I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And I didn't know what was on fire, and we couldn't see. So I think that's very
we are
ironic.
human.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are humans. We are humans, right, Meg?
Yeah.
We are gonna be facing things that we cannot totally be gonna become, right? As you say, that you are gonna emotionally go haywire, or even a bit scared, or because a bit you could be scared. You are human, but just because you didn't let that scare or that fear overtook you, change the outcome. Because
Right.
what if is many things, right? What if could be many different things. We don't
Right.
really want to go in what if that or what if this, right? And the best part about all this is the timing. It's just 1 week before Christmas. Okay, we just released the mechanical realm, everything related. For me, it was also a test that are you worthy? Are you all worthy of this information or this message to give it to the world? Because I don't know if you see the mechanical realm. It's a documentary about the Antikythera mechanism, and so many things others came out too, and so before Christmas, 1 week before Christmas, and all this happening, the winter solstice, the sun going down, and and again starting its race and everything, and then on 25th December, on 24th December, David Weiss releases our documentary as a Christmas gift for everyone. So all the timing and everything of it's just haywire, right? It's just
I
like
feel the same. Yeah, I feel that way. I'm getting this huge energy of like confirmation that this is, in a sense, I almost hate to use the word prophetic, but it's like foretelling. We are going into a time right now as a world where, just like you had this happen right before the winter solstice. It's funny you just said that, because I was thinking that when you first said that it happened before Christmas, like a week before, I thought that's right around the winter solstice time. And it's interesting that right as soon as it almost got as dark as it's going to get in the year, you had this terrible thing happen, and you had to go and you had to deal with the fire. You had to deal with a major issue. And that's where we're going as a world. We're going into some very dark times, and we're having to rush in and put out the fires that these elites have been setting up, proverbially speaking, all around the world. And not only proverbially speaking, they've also set forests on fire in literal ways. But proverbially speaking, meaning political fires, financial fires, fires with, they've been running down all the businesses and shutting down businesses all over here in America. And I feel like it's like the spiritual message to confirm what you're saying. I'm just confirming what I'm getting personally, that I'm saying, yes, everything you're saying, I feel so bad for you that you went through that. But I feel like this is a huge message to the world. And we all get these kind of messages to just keep going. And if it's too dangerous, yeah, don't go into a situation. We need to ask God, just like you were doing. You're like, what do I do? What do I do? And you were getting this feeling, weren't you, that you should just go grab it and pull it out. And you said that there was something that pushed you to do that, didn't you? Or did I misunderstand you?
oh yeah, like as a person, for sure, there was in my second attempt, I didn't succeed in my first attempt. I could have given up in my first attempt,
Mm.
or tried, even if I would have gone out to look for some way to put it out, it was over, because
Mhm.
then I wouldn't have able to go. So to see something of that volume, of that magnitude, and that where it could have gone if it wasn't controlled. So there's a lot
Mhm.
of messages in there, right? About life, about many things, about even materialism. We think we are eternal too, but living this realm is a fraction of second. I felt that
Mhm.
too. You know what I mean? Like, we are not going to live forever. We all know that, but it's a moment. It's a moment. You are here and you're not here.
Did you feel that dedicated energy? Like,
Oh,
I've got to go in. I've got to get that out right now. I've got to at least try. Is that what you felt like?
oh yeah, definitely. In the second attempt, I said I have to go in and take this shit out. I don't even remember how the hell I did it.
Mhm. And
Even
I feel
yeah.
like that is such a confirmation. I hear The fact that you had to do it twice and the first time it didn't work, that's a reminder to all of us that we have to try again. We can't expect in life that just because we gave something one effort, even in trying to overcome the elites around the world and all the stuff they're doing to the world, we can't just give it one effort. We've got to come back and double our efforts. And also, you felt very determined and convinced. So I feel like that's because the spiritual realm was telling you, go in, do this, because they knew that you were going to be okay. And I feel like if you'd gotten a caution, like, don't go in, it's a loss, you're going to die, don't, then I feel like you should have listened to that. But you got the confirmation of go in. And just even sometimes our own thoughts, we think, I've got to do this. And I think when we just dedicate ourselves to whatever you believe in, you know, if you believe in God, the Holy Spirit, whatever, just dedicate yourself to that. Say, please tell me when it's safe and right for me to go into a dangerous situation and do what I've got to do, and show me what to do. And when I shouldn't go in and I should just let it go, show me the difference, and then listen to that. But I feel like you were told to go in. And it's a reminder to all of us, we're going to have to go into those dark times of like the winter solstice. This was right before that, right?
Oh yeah, in that moment, it was like
Yeah,
for
yeah, we're
me,
going
for
into
my, yeah, it was like
we're going into the
reborn. Like,
darkness. We have to enter the fires and the smoke before the worst darkness hits. And we have to
oh
keep
yeah,
pushing through. Yeah, I just
and
keep getting
and
that huge feeling
and
from the story.
exactly. And as you say that, because that voice or something said to me, go and do it. That's why I
Mm,
did it in a
yep.
way. And as I said, only my hands were burned, but I had fire on me. I
Wow.
had fire on my pants, on my jacket, just because those pants and jackets, I had t-shirts and other sweater inside, didn't reach my skin. Because if it was summer, I would have fucking freaking burned half of my body, right? So all this goes into the equation, right? So even though I was in flames, I didn't burn anywhere except my hands,
Mm.
right?
That's
So
kind of
that's
a
in a way,
miracle.
sense, yeah, it is totally, totally, it's
I'm
crazy.
really glad you're okay. I'm really going to pray that your hands heal. And how is your breathing? Are you breathing okay?
No, I'm well. I'm really, really good. I don't took any trauma. I don't have any trauma. I'm a very strong person, and for me, it was a confirmation that, as I said, that I don't only have big mouth, right? I also have a pairs, right? That's for proof for me too. You know, I'm not trying to be egoistic, because, as I said, 50 years, things are gonna happen to you, different stages of life. You know, like even if we speak about astrological way, like me and Jean, as we speak, right? We both are Scorpios, right? The Scorpios, they have different stages of their lives, right? Or from the time they're born to the time when they are in their phoenix rising. For me, this was my stage of phoenix rising, that even if I want to avoid or not, this was written in for me. This was a karmic reckoning for me, or everybody involved, or everybody who's going to be listening to it. It's a way, it's a karmic reckoning. So the people or whoever knows it, or whatever it takes from, because there's a lot of there to take from it, right? Yeah, other than that moment, okay, I was a bit shocked, this that, but I don't have any trauma. I'm not like, still like, whoa, I have a lot of answers, but I know that I don't have all the answers. Like, I've always respected nature. I always respect the elements, always, right? I understand all the different significance and different cosmologies about all the spiritual connection, contacts, and events. I know a lot, right? For me, and especially this year, it's like almost my 20 years that I have been, in a way, already in this spiritual path. I'm already 20 years that I could say that I was enlightened 20 years ago. So I have a lot of spiritual experiences, but this in itself shakes me up again, right? Because it shows that you have always to learn. There's always transformation. There's always purification. Somebody wrote also in the chat before, refined by fire. I feel that. It wasn't that I was totally rusted or something. It's just the next level. And as I said, I understand a lot of it, but I don't understand everything, right? That what is this in the long run? What is this in the higher purpose of?
Yeah, I feel like it's also a message to us that we're not going to come through these times completely unscathed, just like you had your hands burnt. But in the long run, as long as your hands are fine, which it sounds like they're healing and okay, right? Or are they not healing?
No, yeah, I'm almost healed. Yeah, you imagine I drew that image of Seraphim with my burnt hand,
Oh,
so I can draw.
that is powerful.
That's
Oh
great.
my gosh, that is so powerful. You drew a picture of a seraphim of fire with your fire burnt hand that the seraphims had helped you to make it through. That is amazing. I feel like
Oh
this
yeah,
is also the fact that you burnt your hand, it's like it's telling us that we are not going to come through this time unscathed. We are not going to have zero pain. We are not going to have zero suffering that we need to find a way to heal from in all different kinds of ways. We are not going to have zero issues, but if we just try, we will make it through, and we'll spare a lot. You spared your rest of your house, you spared your family, and you were able to spare your life. And I believe that it was God and the angels that were helping you do that too. But we have to look at, just because something's going to cost us something, or we may suffer, or we may even put ourselves in danger, as long as we've got that confirmation to go in, usually that confirmation comes with the protection too. But we shouldn't let
oh,
fear hold us back. We need to just blaze forward and make it through these hard times in life, because I really feel like we are coming in a time of fire spiritually. There's a fire being ignited around the world. People are becoming so illuminated spiritually, and they're really having a hunger and a thirst and a drive to understand all the things that we were lied about. People are waking up to the realities. And really, we are, in a sense, setting the world on fire. Our 4 different elements of water, fire, air, and earth are within us. All 4 are within us, just like the Bible says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. One day he showed me that those 4 aspects of ourself, inside of ourself, heart, soul, mind, strength, are connected to the 4 elements that are outside of us. And I didn't know that, though. Then later I found this information on the internet. A lot of times that happens where God will show me something, and then later I look it up and find people talking about it. So the heart is the water element, because our blood is made of water base. It's not an oil base, and it's our emotions. And heart, soul, that's the second one, or spirit, that's our fire. We are a light. Like, you are the light of the world, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. There's a verse that talks about that. Our soul is considered a light, and electrically it is. When the soul leaves the body, all of the electrical impulses in the heart and in the mind, they vanish. So there's literally an electrical fire energy that's connected to our soul. So their heart, soul, mind is the third one, and that is the air quality. Our thoughts are air element, and that's because our thoughts are what we create our words from. And when our words come out of our mouth, it's like meaningful wind. And so it's air, wind, mouth, words, right? And it's coming from our mind. So heart, soul, mind, strength is the last one. And that is, we think of strength. There's some versions of the Bible that say body instead of the word strength. But our strength is our body. And it's also what we do with our body, which is like the action verb. And that's why they use the word strength, because your strength is what you do. So it's not just our physical body. We are made from the dust of the ground. We're the earth element with our body and our strength, because we're made from the dust of the ground. But what we do is we work with our physical body, which is made from the dust of the ground. We work with things that are also made from the dust of the ground, which are earth element. Like, we take an axe and we chop wood. We make things, we create things, we do things with these, whether it's good or bad. And I don't really know where I was going with that now, because I just was trying to explain this. I've explained this on my videos on Facebook. And now, where
yeah.
was I going back to? I was trying to cycle back to my point here.
What I would
And I
like
lost
to
myself.
add to what I would like to add to that is, like, the angels. We represent angels with wings, right? About flying, and why it's with the wings, because in reality it's supposed to be the golden flame, right? If you see a flame, it looks like a wing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there could be also that the angels are the levels of consciousness that we reach in certain time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Very true.
Could be.
Yeah. But also the Holy Spirit is considered a fire. Like, when he came down, when the Messiah baptized people, a flaming tongue of fire was on their heads. When God spoke to Moses, he spoke to him through the fire in the bush. There's a lot of times where he was a fire, like when the Israelites came out of Egypt and they were just about ready to cross the Red Sea. God presented himself as a pillar of fire and a pillar of smoke. And so there's a lot having to do with that, but God is a flame, and that's where soul, fire, flame, those are together, our souls and spirits. That is the fire element. And that, I think that's why all these different angels and God himself, and it looks like, I guess the Bible says his face looks like it's on fire. And then this Holy Spirit, when the Holy Spirit comes on people, it can present like a fire. I think there's a connection there, but I feel like because we're all becoming so spiritually illuminated, when we've been all so suppressed spiritually, I don't feel like people are bad that we were suppressed. I don't look at the world and think, oh, the world's in darkness, they're evil. I look at them and think, we've all been lied to for so long. How could we have known any different? And now we have a choice. Once we realize we've been lied to, we have a choice to decide, are we going to choose to see the light? Are we going to choose to acquire that flame and let our soul burn bright? Or are we going to keep being dim? Because now at this point in history, it is a choice. Whereas before it wasn't. So I don't think anybody should feel bad about realizing that the ways they believed are not accurate. And it might have some pieces of truth, but it's not quite as true as the truths we're learning now. So yeah, I think it all has to do with something like that. But I just wanted to contribute that one piece there. Sorry.
And the light, as you say, the fire is light. It's light. In the end,
Mhm.
it's just representing the light within us, right? That golden flame that in all of us, right? It's like we can reach that level of consciousness, right? Maybe the real meaning of baptism is to really bathe in or rise in the level of consciousness, right? And the also thing I wanted to add is materialism, right? The problem with the world is that we are trying to put everything in matter, in material, right? Be it religion or whatever other aspect of life, we want to put something materialistic, even to the God, even to the creator, right? It's a big problem. In reality, it's a very big problem, and the world is headed for the disaster because of that materialism that we have taken in as that's the real truth, because we are trying to materialize something that cannot be a material, like the creator. Everything that we see, we think it's materialistic, the religion, the temples, the priest, and then we want to also put materialism to God, that he's in this shape or he's in this form, and that's the right one. No, so that is heading for a disaster, the materialism, the consumerism, right? Because all this politics and religion are building the empire on this materialistic illusion that the humanity is going through, right? Because that's where the change needs to happen in humanity, right? Once we understand that everything we really see, and including the religion, God and creator and everything that he's created, nothing in reality is materialistic, right? Once the humanity understands that, it's automatically going to change, because we're going to stop seeing the differences, we're going to stop seeing the divisions and many different things in aspect of resources and energy, and how the we could make it more harmonious for everyone who inhabits this earth, right? That is the real problem. We are heading for a disaster. For that's the reason we think, oh, there's so much problem in this world. The problem is because everyone are seeing this world as material, right? So that's just wanted to add in there too.
Yeah, you know, this, as you're talking, the Holy Spirit just said to me something I've never even thought of before. And I don't know, maybe somebody said this somewhere along the way and I didn't hear it. So I'm not saying no one's ever said this. I just have never heard their thought this before. You know, with the four elements, I was reminded of how God baptized or washed, cleansed the entire world in water with Noah's flood, and how it says that in the same way in the end times, which a lot of people think we're in the end times, and I'm not saying that we are for sure or not. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people that think this. And it says that we will be baptized by fire. Baptism goes back to mikvah, which is a spiritual bath, and it literally means to cleanse yourself. And it's either in fresh water or salt water They used to even wash in the Dead Sea to cleanse themselves from certain kinds of illnesses that salt can cure. So it's just meaning full water immersion. It doesn't mean, that you have to do a ceremony or something. So some people call it a spiritual bath. Some people call it mikvah, which is the Hebrew or Jewish term. But it's just really intriguing that God just told me that with the 4 elements, you're really not going to cleanse anything with air. Yes, you could have a high powered, air jet, but it's going to destroy anything that it would be, focused on with a fast enough air current to actually be able to get something clean. It would destroy it. With dirt, with earth element, we can't really clean anything with earth. The only 2 purifying things that we are given is water and fire. So the whole world was already purified with water once. And it says that in the same way that the floods came, the end will come in the same way, but it's with fire. And I always thought that it meant that the whole world was going to burn down. And who knows, maybe God's going to end up in the end burning everything down just to start it back over so it's right, when he remakes the new heavens and new earth. But I'm not saying that he is or is not. I don't know. But the one thing that I got a visual on is that right now he is setting the world on fire. He is literally overwhelming people with his Holy Spirit. He is literally pouring out his Holy Spirit on people. And the Spirit is a fire, and it's igniting the fires in our souls right now. And it's a beautiful thing. I never thought that I would live to see these days. This is what I've prayed for since I was little. And I'm so excited to see what's been happening in the world the last year. It's given me so much hope. It's amazing to see how many people are waking up to things, and they're not having the religious concepts of God anymore. They're looking at God as a being that they can connect with in their own bedroom, in their own family room, in their own basement, out in their own yard, out in nature, wherever they want. They don't have to go to a church building in order to meet God or be accepted by him. They just need to connect to him, and he accepts us exactly where we are. And he doesn't want us to stay there, because life is about progression and the journey and developing. It's not about being where we are and staying there. But he does not judge us in the kinds of ways we were taught by the churches that he treats us or views us. He really cares about us, just as, like, if you think of the most loving father, that is how he feels towards us. Look at you see, this is the thing. No, I didn't even know this. He just told me this right now, and I'm sorry. He just told me that that's why he sent you in. That's why your son didn't have to save himself. Because he's our Heavenly Father, and he's coming to save us from the fires. And I didn't know that till right now.
Oh yeah, we all are going to be tested in this fire in a way, some way or the another, right? As you say, we're going to be baptized in fire. Each and every one of us going to be. But what that's representing is the rising of the level of consciousness, more near to the Father or your Creator, whatever you want to call him, the light. It's. But also, there's a message that there is no outside sources required for you to have the divine within, right? It's also
correct. Yeah.
that you don't need anybody or any intermediary between you and the divine, right? We all can reach that level of consciousness in life where we are closer to the creator, right? That's what it matters, because the real teachings, we all know that the real teachings all speaks about this, finding the Christ within you, or the Krishna within you, or any other god, or anybody who follows is finding that within you. Because as somebody said in our chat also, because of the topic today about the Zoroastrians and the Egyptians, they have the similar meanings with the fire and what it represents, and the seraphims and different words here and there. But what is it really trying to represent, right? So we all have that flame within us. We just have to realize it. And sometimes God makes these kind of incidents to make sure, right, that we are not off the tracks, right? And that he reminds us, right, that the creator is always there with you. Could be the most harmonious moment or the most difficult times, is is there, right? Because only once you are in this kind of situations, you realize that you feel that that distance is less, right? Because you feel it, right? Because there are some things you cannot really express, right? In that some situations when someone gets in like that, there are many people who face things like that and don't really know what they have lived through, right? And that in itself, there is less distance between them and the creator, because there's a communication, there's exchange of information, maybe not in words, right? uh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's a powerful testimony. I hope that you can somehow, if you haven't already, and maybe you did before I even got on here, but I hope you can make some kind of video telling the details and the things that you learned, and as you go, be able to reference back to this and tell us the new things in the future if you get a chance of the things that you're learning, because I feel like this is going to be um, like a multiple lessons in one of learning.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know what it is. Are you learning? Is it courage? Is it, I feel like it's going to develop I feel like that happens with all of us, where we learn more and more and more, and we really grow with these lessons that we go through. And I hate to say lessons because it sounds so negative, and I don't see it as negative. It's beautiful. It's our growth, you know?
Exactly, it's not, even if it's a lesson, it's for us, because if we don't have lessons, we're gonna be spoiled kids, right?
Right.
In a way, right?
Fire in numerology is FIRE. It's 6995, which is 29, which is an 11, which is also a 2. 2 is for peace. 11 is a master emotional number. It's a
Me and
master
Gene are
number for
11.
emotion.
Me and Gene are 11.
You're 11 what?
uh like the total of
Life path?
my yeah.
Oh. See, there you go. I don't know why God was telling me, do the numerology for fire, Meg. And I was like, okay, here we go. I have no idea. And that's where I say things and I don't know that's going to connect to nothing. You both have that?
Yeah, we both, he's born on 11th, and my life path is 11.
So, whatever powerful words are equivalent in numerology to the number that is your life path number, you're going to actually notice that you will embody energies like that. So, you both then will have a very fiery effect on things. And that's very much a warming effect. I bet people talk about you guys being very warm, like a campfire. It's like a refiner's fire. And that's the kind of thing. So you guys have then personalities that will have traits that are similar to the kinds of things we can use fire for. And just like we can use things for good or evil, you guys seem good to me. Every time I've listened to your shows, I've been like, wow, they seem amazing, all of you guys. I'm just amazed at all of your hearts and souls and minds. It's beautiful. But this is like, you guys are how do I say this? We all can choose to use our gifts for good or evil. I feel like you guys are using yours for good. And so then you're going to embody the positive sides of these things. And so you will embody the positive qualities of fire. And look how much we can do with fire if we can keep it contained and direct that energy in the right, direction to use it. We can cook things with it. We can heat things with it, right? We can refine things. So it's
Exactly.
amazing. And I see that that's what God's doing
And
with you guys on here. That's awesome.
it can destroy too, and it can give you life, but it can even destroy too. So it's
It's no
amazing.
wonder
And
you felt
yeah,
drawn to put this as part of your profile. I'm interested to see this picture because you're an 11 life path. Fire is equivalent to the number 11 in numerology. And here you're embodying the energy, even to the point where you've put it on your picture. And I've noticed this as I've gotten into numerology. I've noticed that all the words that add up to numbers that have to do with my own charts, I noticed that I tend to be drawn to those things. And I didn't even know what numerology really even.
hey, you got cut out.
6 months ago, and
Go
then I
again,
started
Meg. We
going
don't hear
crazy
you.
on it. Huh?
You got the last few seconds. You got
Oh,
cut out.
sorry.
Go again.
What did you hear last?
No, just a few seconds back.
That you
Oh, okay.
that you felt attracted to the
Yeah,
numerology.
how you felt like connected to the concept of the fire. I feel like that's because if we look through our birth charts and different things with the numerology, we're going to tend to gravitate more towards the numbers that are part of our charts. And then we will also connect more to really big words or major words that are in the same numerology categories. And the last 6 months I've been studying numerology a lot. I never really had before. I didn't really know much about it, but I've been studying a lot. I've been trying to figure out the calculations for all kinds of words, and I've noticed that the basic words, even colors that I tend to like, have to do with numerology of things that are in my own chart. So it's interesting to me that without even realizing it, we will be embodying and expressing ourselves with these words and concepts that in numerology are equivalent to things in our own chart. So that's really cool. I think that's amazing. I don't even know why that it makes me thrilled, because I see how God has everything so interconnected. And here we feel so
And
isolated and alone, and we don't
no,
realize
no,
how everything is connected.
but it's cool. It's because it's all sync. Like, because also all these events and all these incidents is all, as I said, the timing about, because we were working on a documentary which was really important. The message this documentary is having is really important, right? It's the mechanical realm. It's about the flat earth model that has been there all the time, which the people never saw, and we had to put this message out. So it was like a whole test in itself, right? The whole year it was, in a way, because we also lost one of our friend who is in the documentary because he was already elder. But you know what I mean, all the energy we passed in all this year during the making, so all the timing, it's all interconnected, right? And as you say about the numerology and the astrology and the stars, it was in the stars that all these things were supposed to happen, because it's all happening on the days, as we said, the winter solstice and what it represents and everything. And then on 24th Christmas, David Wise releasing the mechanical realm as a Christmas gift. I don't know what it means. It's just so many things. Yeah, Gene, it's crazy.
Well, it's the timing's got to be right, and the cycle's got to be in place.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. And this is the thing, right? Throne of God, the seraphim, the throne of God. It also relates, as I mentioned earlier before in the podcast, that it has to do something with the throne of God. The Antikythera mechanism, the central shaft, which represents the Mount Meru,
Mhm.
or whichever mount in different cultures, the magnetic mountain. It's supposed to be the throne of God too in different cultures, right? And if you see the throne of God, if you imagine the Antikythera mechanism and the central shaft, the throne of God, you have a nice view of the whole realm all around, right? So
Right, and Vika reminds me of the magnetic field, the torus field, how it comes up and out and cascades out and around from the center, right? The magnetic field.
exactly the central shaft, yeah. So it's so many things it connects to this. It's like, it's crazy. We have to, like, raise our vibrations. Well, that's what we have to do, all of us, like raising our vibration in truth.
Or even like just, I don't know, if raising it is the right way to say it, or changing it, and I don't know which direction it has to go in, but changing it to match the frequency of the good that's going around us, so we see it more and we act it more and we understand it more. Like you say, develop that voice in your head that you talk to, the angels that are talking to us, the intangible controlling us, the tangible, because we have our decisions, but we know that, like Vika, if you made the wrong decision that night, you would have paid a completely different price, man. And really, you know, crazy to hear that story. Wow, man. I had no clue. And,
And this is the second story, brother, this year, right?
oh, bro, I was just going to say, man, just going to say, it reminds me of what happened a month earlier when those pieces of the vehicle was flying all around you guys and nobody got touched by anything. It's divine intervention, and the timing and placement, all of this stuff is very otherworldly. and very hard to explain, but we all experience it. You know, the Scorpio instinct, it's in us all, right? We all have all these qualities. Some are a little stronger than other people. Depends when you were born, the sign you're under, the moon you're under. But we develop those things in different ways. That instinct comes in different ways from different levels of angels, and some of the, you know, the mundane ones, the more serious ones are, you know, they come to you in a flash of a thought, and they can come and go, and you never even notice it. But if you develop that relationship within yourself, it does get stronger, and you do realize it when instances aren't so crucial like that in your life, and you make better everyday life decisions, I would think, you know,
Oh,
because, you
brother,
know,
absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
right? No, this is like, you know, of course life is important and everything, but there's more important things behind life, that this is like a breeding ground for souls and
Mm.
spirits down here. And yeah, all we want to do is grow. And you know what we might make equivalent to is like a school, you know. And I feel like my this life is a day in kindergarten for my soul. All 80, 100 years, 70, 60 years, whatever I get, it's one day, you know, a morning in classroom for my soul. That's all this is, kind of, you know.
Yeah, these are not coincidences too. If these kind of things had happened to us 20 or 30 years ago, we would have seen it so differently. But we're all starting to notice all these things we see as coincidences. Like, look at all the fire references that have been happening, even with the angel of fire that you saw and the drawing you drew, like all the different things, even your picture. Like, there's so many coincidences that we're all starting to notice that are having to do with real events that are happening in our lives and having to do with spiritual things that are happening. We're starting to see the connections between all these things. And I wonder how much these kind of things were happening when we were younger, but we weren't ever trained to see it. We were actually trained to not see it. Do you remember as children seeing coincidences and saying, "Mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy, this and that happened, and that must mean this or that"? Do you remember doing that kind of thing? And they'd say, "Oh, no, 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 no." Well, guess what we're all doing now? We're telling our kids, "Yes, that is not a coincidence. This is a connection. This is a confirmation," you know? And so we're all becoming so much more alive because we're becoming interconnected with each other. We're becoming interconnected with all the things that are happening in and around us. And it's like the spiritual realm is trying to reach us in so many different ways. It's because God loves us. Everything is constant messages of truth to us because He loves us and He's washing us with that truth constantly.
Oh, yeah. One thing I could definitely say is that it made me strong for the rest of my life, if whatever I have, right? That I know very well. Like, you know, I can feel that also. And I also really want to thank whatever it is, the creator, to give me that courage. I'm not saying it was my courage, right? Yeah, it's through, right, the creator. So yeah, definitely make me strong. And yeah, and we have to be, life, it's all about this, right? As I said, life is always not harmonic. Life will bring us situation, life will test us, the creator will test us, right? And as we spoke about the divine timing and why all this in this part time of the, with all the, even the documentary. So
It's so
all I
easy
can
for
say,
us
it's
to,
amazing.
oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead, go ahead.
it's easy for us to trust God in the easy times. And even sometimes we feel like it might be hard to trust Him because we feel like we're lacking faith or something, but maybe we're wanting more direction for which degree to work for, or which job to work for, something we feel kind of lost. But it's in the hard times when we know that we can't do it, that in our own strength and our own knowledge, even our own sight, you couldn't see through the smoke. You couldn't see, but that He can help us. And when we see His strength in and through us in our weakness, it makes us believers. We know there's a stronger, greater force, just like you said, and it helps us to face the future with strength and with confidence because we know we are not alone, that when we really need something, God will be right there. And I'm convinced that even if I ended up dying, I know He would help me to weather that. I've lost many things in my life, and I've watched him help to comfort my heart through the heartbreak and all the agonies and different things I've been through. And it was something that as a little kid, I knew that when I went through hardships that God could get me through it. But for some reason, I still feared it because I didn't want to have to go through it. And after having to go through so many things, I can't say that I'm fearless because I'm human, but I'm about as fearless as I can really be as a human, though I'm imperfect. I know that God is working all things out for all of our goods because we all love him and are called according to his purpose. And people say, oh, well, no, because not everybody loves God. God's been telling me a lot lately that on the judgment day, when we all stand before him, when the devil has to stand before him, when we all stand before him, even the demons and everything, everybody good and bad, everyone will love God on that day because we will see that he is love. We will want to be purified by him. We'll want to be made right and made new and whole and be with him. I had an experience years ago. I asked God if I could please see him, and there's no way for anybody to see God. But I asked if he could kind of filter it somehow and just let me get a glimpse of him somehow. And he made a way for me. I've almost died many times, but the love that came off from him is indescribable. It's like being in an ocean where you're drowning in love, but it's pleasant. And I don't know how to describe it. His love is so vast. He loves all of us so much. And the thing is, whatever's true on the judgment day, that's still true today. The judgment day is when we're going to have to face those truths. So when we know, because a lot of times we say, well, but what if I don't love God enough? You know, the Bible says he works all things out together for the good of those who love him and who are called according to his purpose. So people will question, well, what if I don't really love him enough? What if this other person doesn't love him? Well, what if I'm not called according to his purpose? We were all made by him in his image. And on that day of judgment, we will all know for sure that we do love him. We want him. We want to live with him. We don't ever want to be separated from him. And so that means that on that day, we're all going to know we love him, which means that if that's true on the judgment day, because that's the day of reckoning, that's the day of truth, that means we do all love him right now. And we just might be a little confused or, deceived into thinking maybe we don't. Maybe we have some anger at God. God can help us even through that. I've told God about my anger with him. I'm like, you know what? I'm angry at you. You've let me go through things I don't feel are fair. And I need to tell you because I need you to help me with it because I can't even make myself stop being mad at God. I need him to help me even with that. And so I asked him to help me with that. So I'm convinced we do all love God deep down. In fact, even the devil deep down, the reason he hates God so much is because he loves him, because he wishes that he could be him, right?
The way
Everybody
you the way you
loves God.
communicate, exactly, the way you communicate with God, like why are you angry and all this is just showing you that how much you believe in him, right? Without seeing him, and the
Right.
way you communicate with him, that's all it matters. Right?
And it seems like the more angry we get at God, I think actually it's because we love God more. I've heard a lot of people say that they've become atheists because they were so angry that God let something bad happen to them. And to me, I see that as an intense love for God. They were looking to him to save to save them from that situation. And when he didn't come through in the timing or in the way that they'd hoped, then they got upset with him. But it was because they'd put that childlike faith in him, like that, oh, I'm just going to trust that God's going to save me. And then he didn't save them in the way that they thought. And so they lost trust. God's shown me that it doesn't matter if I can't see what is going on in my life. And if I can't see the good that he's going to do with it, I need to just know I've seen him turn so many things in my life around for good that I had no idea that was even possible. Because the things I've been attacked so much in my life for no reason at all. I'm not perfect, but I didn't deserve these attacks. And I've been like, why are you letting this happen, God? What can you possibly do with my life now? Because my life's been ruined. How can you possibly work through it? And I finally just gave it up to him. I was like, you know what? I'm here. All I've ever wanted to do is just do what you want. I thought that was going to equate to me having a good life. I guess it's not going to. Then if I have to be a warrior and a spiritual warrior, I was a spiritual pussy. I wanted a nice, easy, sweet life. I wanted flowers and rainbows and sunshine for everybody. I wanted my worst enemies to become the gentle giants. I wanted everybody to be happy. I still want that. I'm a child at heart. I'm 45. I'm a
But
child
that's
at heart.
good.
I'm a 4-year-old.
Exactly.
I want
Supposed to have
everybody
You
to
that.
be
have
happy.
You're supposed to have that kind of attitude, though, I think, like a child.
Yeah. We need to have that love for everybody,
that.
that we just want everything to be good for everyone. We want them to understand what's best so that they stop doing these terrible things. But
Well, that's portrayed by all these, establishments that were surrounded by that look different, but they're not different. They're coming from the same sources. So all these ideas of the materialism is coming from the wrong place, and that's kind of where a lot of people stuck. That there's where there's more spirituality going on behind us, than we're being led to think.
Oh my word, so much. You know, these occult beliefs that they have, I'm amazed at how God has been revealing to me. He told me 2 years ago and 2 years and 1 month ago that he wanted me to study things that I'd never studied my whole life. I thought they were evil, things like tarot, divination, and I thought these were evil and of the devil. What I found is that what they teach about this stuff is lies. It is evils. But I said, okay, I'll study it. But he told me not to believe anything, though, just to study it, just to try to understand, just like how we study the Illuminati to
Right.
understand
You
the evil
gotta
things that they do,
you
even though
gotta
we don't want to.
understand it, or else you can't
Yeah, or else
get
you'll
around it or
participate in it.
combat it. Or just an
Yeah,
understanding doesn't mean you're
right.
you know.
But a lot of people really were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
Meg, you're getting into something really evil,"
but
and I was like,
but
"Oh, sorry.
what's that's the topic. That's the topic for our next week, and that's
Oh,
why we
is it?
have that topic. Yeah, that's why we had that topic. Astrology is Bible astrotheology. Why? Because
Mm-hmm.
in reality, we are speaking about tarot, we are speaking about astrology, numerology, astronomy. It's all
Things
interconnected, right?
written in the
What's
stars.
evil? Yeah, what's evil? What's not? It's a whole. This is a whole podcast in itself that we're gonna have next week.
Oh, cool.
And the best part is that that was the podcast the day that fire happened, was supposed to be that podcast, and something was not supposed to happen that night, right, Gene? Right, as you say, it was not in the stars,
That's
right?
so
It wasn't
crazy,
in.
bro.
And you imagine, as we say, the timing, 5 minutes before that program podcast, we are almost ready to go, and the fire took place. So this
Mm.
also has to say things in it. What is it? Is it evil? What
Mm.
is it?
Wait a minute. You're saying how many minutes was it before that the fire took place?
5.
5 minutes, and Gene was in the studio. I was about to put Gene in the stream.
Oh my word. That
Really? Yeah.
you were under spiritual attack. You already know that though.
Well, I don't know if you heard the story about what happened in December on his way back from doing the filming for his part in the mechanical realm.
I don't think I heard any of this.
Oh wow, because it was a very it was another spiritual encounter for him.
Exactly.
You know, wherever
Right?
you see resistance and spiritual attack, when you have people who they're not trying to do evils. You're not trying to steal from someone. You're not trying to murder anybody. You're not trying to, I don't want to name all the bad things that there are in the world that you could possibly do, but you're not trying to do those bad things. You're trying to literally make a podcast to get good information out, to help people think. What bad is there in that?
Yeah, well.
So when you're doing good things, and you're getting huge resistance like that, that is a absolute confirmation that the things that you are trying to present are key truths that this world needs in order to set us free from this enslavement to evil and darkness.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, it has that aspect to it, right? Gene know, Evelyn know, I know, yeah, for sure, and even Keith knows that, because once you are on with boots on the ground, you have to be prepared.
Yeah, and we aren't though. We are not prepared in that we feel like we don't know what to do in a certain situation or we don't know what's going on. And that's why we have to live by the Spirit, keep in step with the Spirit. And like I said, whatever you believe in, I don't really care personally what people believe in as long as they feel like they're connecting to something that is more pure and light and higher. Do you know what I mean? Because we're all stuck in this dark place. We all have some kind of darkness within us that we have to fight. It's like, having to supposedly fight our own demons. And I'm not saying that people are evil. We're all in a spiritual warfare. Whenever I talk about evils, when I talk to Christians, because I was raised Christian, I'm not Christian. I believe in the one true God. I believe in the Messiah and I believe in the Holy Spirit, but I'm not Christian as in a religion anymore. But when we talk about demons, a lot of times people who are part of certain religions will get really upset. And they'll say, well, how could you say that I have demons? And I'm saying, no, we are all under demonic attack. We're all made in God's image. We're the ones they're attacking, all of us. And whether we're caving into that attack by doing evils, like a lot of these narcissists out there, or whether we're really trying to get it right and we're trying to be a light worker or whatever you want to call it, we are all under attack by evil entities and demonic dark forces, whatever way you want to say it, whether you want to think of it as a negative energy or as a demon. I don't really care which way we term it.
but
It's all the same
but
thing to me, you know?
that's the reason I said the one who protects is greater than the one who wants to destroy, right?
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
reason. I don't know, when you have that in you, you know what you have, right?
And we all have
So
to get in the spiritual warrior mentality. I wanted to be, you know, one of God's little daughters with all the females of the whole earth who are all his little daughters and all the males that are sons. I wanted to be one of his children and I just wanted to live a nice life. And I realized we are in a war we did not want to be in. We did not pick this fight. It was picked with us. And I realized that there was a great need for me to, as an individual in my own life, there's a great need for me to become a warrior spiritually. And I realized we all need to do this. And so I asked God to permanently transform my soul into a warrior soul because I knew
oh
I didn't
yeah,
have it in me. And he's been
we
doing that.
we we all have that. We just have to realize that in us. And yeah, if someone in the chat is saying that it was a great test, something that was positive, not negative, a powerful lesson. Exactly, it's just showing the two sides. I The both of the experience, I took it very positive, because the way the situation was so dangerous both the times, but both the times it shows that we are protected by the divine too. So that's beyond words awesome, right? That's amazing, right? The other thing I
Yeah, it
wanted to
is.
the other thing I wanted to mention, because here in the chat the people are speaking about the seraphim and the serpent, for being an angel, right? And exactly. And Evelyn also said about cherubim. Lucifer is cherubim. There's in Isaiah, I think Isaiah was the one whose lips were burned, right, by the angels. That was just to for the purification and transformation. Okay, there is an event there. And then there's a different how do you say, meaning for different cosmologies, no? For example, in the Egyptian, the Ser is represented as serpent, but it's not really saying that it's serpent, because in Hebrew they say it also means serpent or it means fire, right? It's two different things, but it's just a word used in a definable language, right? It doesn't really mean that it's a serpent or it's fire, or it's just the way we can use this word. There's some word we can use, but it's just the representation of the protection of the divine, right? Because even in Zoroastrianism there's a there's this winged god, and then angels with wings, and in many different cultures they have different names, and they have different representation and different meanings. Maybe in Christianity they have few different meanings, because here they speak about Lucifer, or is the serpent with the wings, could be a dragon, right? The whole thing about the serpent being on the tree of wisdom, or we can even say the phoenix in itself is like the serpent getting its wings and rising. There's many different interpretation. There are not one, two, there are hundreds different, right?
Yeah, and the devil was called the ancient serpent and also the ancient dragon in the Bible.
Exactly. And dragon is represented in many different cultures, but in reality what it could mean is the Kundalini awakening, the finding the Christ, the ultimate teaching about the pineal gland, and the anointment that needs to go up so we could regenerate, right? Well, it's for the next one, but yeah, more or less.
It's
Uh,
interesting that dragons are considered fire breathing in a lot of folklore, and if that has anything to do with the devil, and the devil was an angel, and angels have to do with fire. I just see some kind of correlation there. I don't know what the connection is, but I hear what you're saying. Which angels, which type of angels was it again that you were talking about in this podcast?
Seraphim.
Seraphim.
Yeah.
See, I know a little bit more about Ophanim.
Yeah, the Ophanim are the ones where it looks like rings, right? 3, 4 rings
Yes.
together, almost like a gyroscope with eyes, right? Yeah, it's also
Yeah.
there's a connection also, Gene, brother, that with this these angels, they look like a gyroscope with eyes. They're speaking about mechanics. They're speaking about wheels, the wheels of Ezekiel.
Right,
It's all
right.
interconnected, brother. It's all interconnected with TMR.
Yeah,
The
it's interesting.
first of the second layer, I think.
There's a lot of
Oh
people that
yeah.
I've said to them about the Ophanim that they look like a gyroscope, but with eyes covering all of the different rings. And then people will say to me, well, that can't be because you're just trying to take a modern day, mechanical thing that we have and you're trying to just pretend like that must be how an angel is. And I said, no, it's the other way around. We got all of our technologies in the likenesses of these beings, or we got the wisdom and knowledge of these technologies from them. But so a lot of the things that it seems to me, I cannot prove this to you, but just from all the studying I've done, a lot of our different types of machinery and technologies are actually because God had made these things in the celestial and up in the top of the dome and like the angels. Like, how did we ever think of a gyroscope? We didn't. That's because we made it in the image of angels.
It's the stars
Exactly,
being
and
the angels, right?
exactly, and the different aspects of more than just three-dimensional, right? Because the way these rings are moving, it's telling us that God is multi-dimensional, right? And can see in different dimension, right? Because it's moving on different axes altogether. And exactly all this knowledge of all the technology, all and the stars and the Antikythera mechanism and all this knowledge have to come with from the higher sources, because we are, as we spoke in different podcasts, we humans are not that living so long life to have all this as a software uh, working in perfection in this intelligent design, right? The creator being on his throne and watching everything, and there has to be that precision, right? Yeah.
No, everything here works on precision. That's a symbiotic relation with something else, and it couldn't be anything else but intelligent design.
Evelyn, which Bible stories have to do with the seraphim? Is it the Ark of the Covenant?
I think
so.
it's Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah something. Which one I don't know exactly, but it's in Isaiah. And
I can check.
I've been trying to study things about angels and feeling unsure of the source. So I've felt for so long like, how do we know for sure that something is actually a good source of information? Because we could hear something, it might even kind of ring a bell with our soul, and we might say, that kind of sounds right to me, but we can never quite be sure. And that's why I keep asking the Holy Spirit, if something is true, please confirm it. And please show me that it's true. Explain why it's true. And if it's not true, please explain to me what the lie is. Like, which piece of it is the lie and what's the deception tactic in the lie? Because the enemy is always using that deception tactic. That's why they create the lies that they create in the ways they create them, because they're trying to deceive us. So there's always like a mechanics or a mechanism to the tactic in the lie. And so I'm always asking God to show me this. And when it comes to angels, it's been something that seems so holy to me that I've been really afraid to try to pinpoint what I personally think about it, because I feel like these are such high beings. I don't want to try to decide that I think this way or that way about it. I'm just still in this absorbing energy of trying to absorb anything I can about these. So I've learned a lot about it, but I don't feel like I know concretely until the Holy Spirit confirms something to me. But
I
which types of angels was it on the Ark of the Covenant? Because if people even touched that, they would
No, that's
die.
cherubim. That's
Oh, it's cherubim.
cherubim. The
Cherubim. Okay.
cherubim is on the Holy Grail. Yeah, that's different.
Okay.
They are
Yeah.
they are after seraphim. Yeah.
The Seraphims is in Isaiah. In the year that King Uzziah died, this is Isaiah. I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. So that means that they moved in synchronized. So those are there are 3 verses that that actually mention the seraphims with 6 wings. And there's Isaiah 6:6. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar.
Exactly, and burn the lips of him so he could be purified by his sins, right?
Full chapter. I would have to read the full chapter. I'm doing a search in the Bible Gateway. Full chapter.
Yeah, but
Yes.
also this.
Yes, go further. And he laid it upon my mouth and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. So it was a sort of a purification thing going on.
Yeah, with Ezekiel, right?
Yeah.
And with the seraphim and the fire. Yeah, but there are many different stories and about seraphims and different angels and experience and encounters, right? So as I said, I don't know all why all this happened. Maybe, as I said, I maybe have some ideas why it could be, but what I also think maybe that it's was in my karmic reckoning that this needed to happen, and that maybe it helped in the future for someone to I don't know, maybe to relate to it or whatever. I don't know what's the higher purpose of this, but I know that it could, right? It's also about the primordial awareness that you become, right, after this kind of incidents. It also, apart from making me strong, it made me more humble. It wasn't that I wasn't humble in my life, but more, right? There's always more to it, like next level, right, of and maybe also it's possible that through the seraphim, the souls, we human souls, is able to complete our journey to the creator and live, right? There's one thing is just to experience maybe for decades or two as an experiencer, and then there's a level where you become one, right? Maybe, right? We have to be like kind of needs to match our vibration similar to the seraphim so that we can be close to that creator, right? Maybe, right?
Well, Vika, you know, really, when you recognize those situations, it's a communication between the physical and the non-physical that's trying to guide us. It's like, you know, the two voices in your head. It's like two monkeys fighting over a banana, kind of. So don't feed the bad thoughts, and eventually the better thoughts fulfill your mind, and the bad ones eventually go away because you don't feed them. Almost like in a literal sense, you know. Don't entertain those negative thoughts because the slick ones don't appear negative. You know, there's some obvious ones that are like, yeah, no, don't do that. That's a terrible decision. But then there's the better ones who are a little more insidious and less obvious, where you're not sure what to do. And that's when it comes in handy that if you do have the good conversation in your head going on, those ones will go away also, and you can recognize them easier. And those are like your instincts kick in, where you don't have to think much. You bump, you know exactly what to do in a flash. You don't waver off those decisions either, because like Mike said before, you can really pay dearly, So like if when the universe, God, whatever it is, if you get an instinctual nudge to do something, and you don't pay attention to the universe and you're getting nudged, eventually you're gonna get
Yeah, you could be in problem. Yeah,
right, bro.
you'll be
Eventually you're
screwed
gonna
big
get
time,
pushed.
big time.
So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but I think ultimately it can like manifest or ultimately be coming from the same place.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's why it's all open, brother. It should be totally.
Yeah, man. So yeah, and it is always good to be thankful. Bro, this is a crazy story. I'm like trying to absorb it, man. And I was wondering about why you were so quiet. At first, I was like, something's really wrong, and I didn't want to. I was like, I'm just gonna wait, and then I was patient and everything. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, everything's good. So to hear the story is like, wow. To know the other stories, the whole thing is very spiritual. So it'll be good for you to reflect on, and you, bro. I've said to you plenty of times how your instincts kicked in for flatten the curve and the mechanical realm. It's you got a really good instinct, bro, and that's like a good development for your natural Scorpio abilities. And it's always good to reflect on these things, because that was a communication. And when you recognize that communication, you do polish it, you hone it, you enhance it, you develop it. So, and then the
Oh,
more right? Yeah, man, the more you get, the more you get kind of from it. You talk to the universe talks back to you, no matter what,
oh
how you
yeah.
talk to it.
Oh yeah, brother, absolutely. From the time when I got this message that I'm gonna have this encounter, then having that encounter, and everything, subconscious of the intro being with the fire and everything, and then this showing up and the timing of it, and the podcast topic we
Uh,
had, and you sense it, right, brother? I know you. I knew you're gonna sense it. I know, because you you know how we are connected, right? So,
yeah.
but I try to keep it, because it took me time to change the topic and make this topic, because I wasn't sure if I was wanted to do this, really, really. But I got it. I got that inner instinct and way of that. I got a sign that yes, you have to share this,
Nice.
uh, and that you're gonna, not for for the future, whoever gonna resonate. And I don't know, it's just a way of the creator, because as I say, I respect always, and I am learning like everybody else, right? So yeah, it's a fine tuning, it's a refining. And the as I said, the message and the information that we were passing through, right? The importance of this message and what it bears, right? And so yeah, brother.
Yeah, man. It's a lot to take in, man. I tell you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there she is. I was wondering what had happened to Meg.
Oh, sadly, I was shopping for groceries and I didn't realize how low my phone was for battery, so it died right there. I'm very sorry, and it took me a minute to get it back on and
It's
into the
always dying,
chat.
you.
So I'm so sorry, because you were just saying something about where the seraphim were in the Bible, and then in Isaiah, and it went out right then.
Oh yeah, there are different representations. I'm getting a echo.
Does anyone
All right.
know a good source that teaches about the different types of angels that's, more concrete? I trust the things that the book of Enoch says. When it comes to the Bible, I know that it's been mistranslated intentionally. When I was in Bible college at Moody Bible Institute for 3 years, they talked about some of the different mistranslation errors, things that have been added, things that have been taken out of the Bible, and also things that have been changed. And so they did not deny that the Bible's been altered, but they just didn't tell the full extent of it. And so that's why we just have to use the Holy Spirit as a tool. And I don't mean to use God in a using kind of way, but I mean we need to have our connection with him and our relationship strong, so that whenever we're reading anything, whether it's the Bible or a book, listening to a video, having a conversation, even our own thoughts, we need to pass all of that through kind of the Holy Spirit filter to ask him what's true about this and what's not. And so that's how I read my Bible now. I used to take it word for word, and it was confusing. And it makes a lot more sense to me now when I just say, okay, I don't really know what this means. I go look at the Hebrew, I look at the Greek, I study more, I just ponder. I don't decide that something is true or is not true. And then the Holy Spirit can show me a lot more. And I feel like when it comes to angels, this is the kind of thing I feel like the Holy Spirit would have to show me. He probably has to show all of us, like, what's the truth. It's disconcerting. It's almost a terrifying thought to try to figure out what these high-powered beings are like. And yet to know that they are so high powered is almost comforting, because they can handle all the tasks and jobs that God gives them to help us. And so sometimes not knowing what they're like, what they're about, there's a comfort in that we know they are good and that they do God's will and they're here to help us, and that they can handle all these things that we can't even understand. There's almost a comfort in that as well. But I do wish that I had some kind of source to read more on. I've read tons about angels, studied tons about it, but I just feel unsure of, like, even when it comes to the archangels, or people will talk about, Archangel Metatron and all these different archangels. I wonder sometimes how many of these are being presented as though they're an angel when maybe they're possibly a demonic force that's trying to, masquerade as an angel of light like the devil does, versus which ones are really of God. And I feel unsure. That's why I don't judge any of it. I just am like, okay, God, just send your holy angels to help us. And I just trust that he's going to do that. And I don't know which ones they are. I don't know anything about it in a concrete way, but I don't know. How do you guys figure that out? I feel like that's probably a lot of people's deep heart question, is just, we want to know more about this. I feel like we can trust God and trust that the angels are working without understanding them. But how do we navigate that with things that we should probably know the difference between? And yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, we were just
It's
saying
is it
that
I'm not sure about it.
it's like the voices in your head. It's like the two monkeys fighting for a banana, and some of them are a little more obvious. Make
you have to mute your mic, Meg.
echo. Hello. Right.
Oh, hello. Sorry. Were you saying something
Yeah,
to me?
when you're not speaking, you have to mute your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
The echo. So it's just a matter of deciphering which are the right decisions to make, and right meaning for the better of everybody involved, I would think, right? So to distinguish, because some people are like, well, there is no good or bad, but if it's a decision you got to make, like Vikka had us make that split decision, and he made the right decision, seems to be obvious, right? So the better you hone that conversation in your head between the voices that are trying to get you to trip up, like I said, some are more obvious, some are more insidious and less obvious. The less you entertain those more obvious ones, the less obvious ones get more prominent, and you're able to decipher those slight variances of which angels are getting through to you. And so you hone that conversation between you and the good angels, and it just gets better and better. That's my
E-
interpretation of it all.
Exactly. In the end, who wins, right? Who wins in that situation? the negative vibration or the positive vibration, because they both are present
Well, I would say
in that
both,
moment.
right? Because then the negative vibration can maybe become positive also.
Exactly, depending how it's reacted. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, reaction is a big part of it, right? You don't ever, it's good to get rid of quick negative reactions to things that happen. Like yelling or something in a situation. You're yelling is because you think your soul is so far apart that you need to yell to compensate for the distance of where your thoughts are. So you get loud as a physical reaction to it, right? So, and they say when you pray, you pray anyway. Well, nothing gets to us, guys, unless your spirits understand that you can handle it. That's what I think. Nothing gets to me in this physical world that they don't know is going to make me better and help me grow and prepare me from, you know, real life, because the physical life is the vehicle to real life,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and how we do down here, I think helps dictate where you go next. First grade, kindergarten, wherever you are.
Now I'm getting a call.
And Meg, did you move or something? Position different, because I'm getting an echo also.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. I was trying to time it right so that I would wait till the end of one of your sentences to to be able to pop in here, but I ended up clicking it on and off a couple times. It might be my phone, just where I'm at now, hooked to the wall. There was an experience that I had with angels. It was two angels, and I'd forgotten about this until like a minute ago. And I wondered, do you want me to tell you what my experience was? I don't
Go
know which
ahead. Go
types of
ahead.
angels these were.
Go ahead.
The only reason I'm thinking of sharing this, I'd forgotten about it. I thought maybe it would encourage someone out there. Um, when we try to think of, what are angels? What are they made of? What do they look like? What do they do? And all this, it can be very overwhelming. But the part that we really need to understand for ourselves as individuals is just what is our responsibility in working with them to do what we need to be doing. There was two angels that came to me, and it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe. I'd been very ill. This was many years ago. My daughter, who's 10 years old now, I was pregnant for her, and I got some kind of horrible pneumonia, and then it would switch to bronchitis, then it would switch back to pneumonia, and it lasted the whole pregnancy. And I finally was healed from this when she was about 3 or 4 months old, but I was so deathly ill. I could barely breathe. I had to keep my window cracked open an inch at night and all during the day, even in the winter, because I couldn't breathe. I kept wondering what was going on. Well, I don't want to get into a lot of the details of this, so I'll just say my ex-husband was very abusive, and I really wonder if it was something he'd done to me, and I won't say what because that's not what the point of this is, but he was doing a lot of things to me, and I think that that was one of the effects that it had. So I kept praying and asking God. I looked up at the stars at night one night, and I was praying that God would give me signs in the clouds. I didn't even believe in things like that back then. And I used to be a glober. I was still a glober when it came to thinking that maybe there were still these planets out there. It was still kind of like I was a flat earther. But when it came to, how do I explain this? When you get really sick, you go revert back to the ways that you thought when you were young because you're too sick to think straight. So ironically, I was a flat earther, but I kept thinking, oh, if these are really planets out there, or if they're angels or what, if it's flat earth dome, I didn't know because I just become a flat earther during that time frame, like a couple years before that. And it still hadn't quite sunk in yet to my deeper parts of my brain. Like, do you ever still refer to the earth as a globe? And then you realize, wait, no, that's the terminology we were trained with. I just mistakenly spoke what I used to believe instead of what I know now. But anyways, so I was still going through kind of a transitional point where it was getting into my deeper memory. So I was praying that God would, if they were planets or if they were stars or if it was flat earth dome or whatever, that these energies, that these angels would somehow send energies from that to heal me. Like I didn't know how to get healing. And I said, God, I don't even know. Like I'd never thought that this was going to be some kind of demonic force that was making me sick. And I said, if there is a demon, will you please send angels to heal me? Will you please send them to get this demon out? Well, I had no idea that that's actually what was happening. Even when we're abused or when we have an illness or something, it can make demons fasten themselves to us. That's why I say it doesn't mean that you're evil if you've got some kind of a demonic attack happening in your life. It means that you're under attack, which actually means that you're good. So I didn't know this. I didn't know anything. Now I look back and I see so much more clearly what was going on, but I didn't believe in any of these ways back then. So I was experiencing these things and not understanding what was going on. I was seeing visions. For 2 to 3 hours, these two angels were one on each side of me, and I knew it. I don't know what I was really seeing and what I wasn't seeing because I was so violently ill. I was so at the edge of death that I was kind of half here and half there on the other side. And so I still can't even tell if what I saw as the angels was something I saw in the room or if it was in the visions in my mind, but I knew I was having visions in my mind because I could see they were showing me this demonic entity that was down in the left bottom of my left lung. And they showed me that there was a cloak over this demonic entity. It had some kind of like high-tech spiritual cloak, like almost like a quilt or a blanket. And this thing, it literally would translate what the demon said into the kind of speech pattern that I would accept. So this angel, the one on the right side of me, spoke to me constantly. The one on the left side did not speak. And I knew these were holy angels. There was no doubt. They revealed themselves that way. And it was so overwhelmingly true, I couldn't even deny it. I'd asked God to heal me, and He'd sent them. I was sat up on my bed, which I could barely even sit up. I was sat up for 2 or 3 hours. I grabbed a legal pad, and I began to write down every single thing that they said and I said in like chicken scratch. I was going so fast, I still have the notebook. And we found this a couple years ago, and it's all the things that the angel was telling me. So the way that this angel got this demonic entity out of my lower left lung, which was making me ill and just about killing me, which is right by your heart too, was that the angel had to show me that this demon was speaking one sentence after the next, with only a small break of like a couple seconds in between of lie after lie after lie. So the angel lifted up this blanket thing, and the demon is curled up down there in my lower left lung, and I could see it in the visions. And it was saying one lie after the next after the next. And when the cloak was lifted, I could hear what it was saying. But when the cloak was put back down, then the angel would put it back down and show me that one sentence. Here's how it translates through this quilt thing that was some kind of translator, would translate it into lies that would be in alignment with my belief system to get me to believe the lie, which allowed the demon to continue to take hold in my lung. So how fair is that when you're so violently ill, you can barely breathe, you can barely think, and you're almost dead, to have to fight a demonic entity with the power of your thinking and to try to overcome lies? You can't even barely think straight. So this angel spent 2 to 3 hours. Every single lie that demon would say, the angel would lift the blanket up. The demon would say the lie, the angel would put the blanket back down, show me how that lie translated through that blanket. It was a translator into words that my belief system thought were true. And then the angel would speak to me after that what the truth was, and I would go, oh. So I would write down what the demon said, write down, and I don't even know how I did this because I was so weak, but I was literally, my hand was writing in a furious pace. I wrote an entire legal pad in 2 to 3 hours. I filled it on the front sides of every single page of that legal pad. And I was able to understand then. So by the time that we got through probably 80 to 100 different lie sentences that the demon was saying. And so every single time the angel told me the truth, I knew it was true and I just believed it. And so by the time they got to the last few sentences, these two angels, this demon had been slowly pushed out of me, one lie at a time, one truth at a time, until the angels grabbed hold of its arms as it was going out the back of me. My back was to the window as I was sitting on my bed, and these two angels grabbed onto its arms, and it continued to speak lie after lie, trying to maintain the foothold in me. And the angels kept showing me what the truth was, and I kept writing it down, and I believed it immediately because I knew it was true. I wasn't having to try to believe it. I knew what they said was true. It was so obvious. And that thing left me, and I immediately started to get better. It still took me a couple weeks to feel human again because your body has to recycle, but I stopped having that illness, and that illness was caused to me by intense abuse. Abuse can really drill demons into people, and it can get them attached. And the thing is that it's the lies that connects the demons to us, and that's what makes it so painful when we go through suffering, because it's those toxic mentalities that we were taught by our abusers of how to view ourselves and view God and view the world and view truth. And when we keep having those things cycle through our heads over and over again, it just pains our brain to the point that we don't even want to have to think anymore. We just want to go to sleep because our thoughts are so painful. But it's because those thoughts are connected to lies. And it doesn't mean that we're bad people. It means we didn't ever know the truth. If you know the truth will set you free. And so I've seen the work of angels. So I wanted to share that with you in case that would help someone.
Oh yeah, it was your experience. Oh, can you mute the mic?
Oh, sorry. I meant to. I'm sorry.
No, no worries.
That was a very powerful testimony
Ex-
there. Thank you
oh
for
yeah,
sharing.
exactly. And it was your
You're welcome.
way of experience. Oh yeah, I'm getting. Why am I getting echo? Check, check. Oh yeah. Oh, what I mean is that that was your way of experiencing this angel, even though it was a very hard time and a moment, but there was this experience. Because also when you are in some kind of illness, you actually are totally like in a trip. You are like, as you say, half gone. It's like being intoxicated on something, or on something high, on really something strong. It's the same thing when you are not well, and almost, you said you are at the almost the stage of dying. That's almost also losing, how you say, uh, the fabric becomes thin, right, between realities, right? That's why you could perceive in an energetical way the problem, right? Everything you saw as vision and light, but it's a process that needed to happen, and you experience it. It's good that maybe you remember some things or many things, but you, at least you have some kind of memory of it, that this event happened, even though you were not in your conscious state in that moment, but that experience happened and you remember. So what is also trying to say that energetically you healed yourself also with the help of the angels, and that's a process. So many things in life, it's also a process, and vibrations that we have within, and the healings we have to do. Because many people are going to call it demonic or satanic or new age, to have a clean frequency or vibration and energy, right? Sometimes that's why when we say the gut feeling, right, we know in our guts, right, why things and some things manifest. It's just the accumulation of this energy and vibration that we don't deal with, or we have to deal with, right? Everybody, right? So so if there's a blockage of all this vibration and energy, it's, or you lose energy, or you have a uh, loss of energy, so it's not circulating. No, I'm not saying specifically you, anybody, right? Anybody, all of us, right? So it's kind of a healing with light, healing with energies. You want to call them angel too, it's angel too, because you saw them as angels, right? It's your consciousness. You saw through that, right? So we all have this, we all have this, and in different way, in different time of life, we do experience. Sometimes we want to acknowledge it, sometimes we don't want to acknowledge it, sometimes we don't want to tell anybody, right? Because maybe some people think that you're crazy, or I am crazy, right? So it's many factors to that too, right? But all of us, in some time of our life do have this experience where it makes just think, about life, and is it all just material. And so I think, in even though it was not very harmonic situation with you, but it helped you for sure. It helped you a lot in many ways for you to uh, grow in your conscious, of being what you are or want to be, or what you're passionate, or we all are passionate about, right? So yeah, it's crazy, it's amazing, it's a different way of experiencing the same thing, because there enter many different emotions, as you say: fear, love, judgment, everything that we can imagine, right? It's right there.
Yeah, it is. I tend to use either Christian sounding terms because that's how I was raised, or I use the New Age terms because I don't know any other terms to use. I almost wish we could come up with a third category of some new phrases that blend the truths from both sides together. But sadly, I think that whether it's the evil forces in the world, the evil people, like the Illuminati, or whether it's the devil, I think that they've tried to separate the same truths out into either religion or New Age kind of universe, no God type of mentality. And I find slivers of truth in both. And what's interesting is there's usually the same kind of concept, but with two different words. Like Christianity will talk about one thing like faith or something, and New Age will talk about manifestation. They're the same basic concepts. When we look at what the similarities are that are positive, we can apply that. But when it comes to those angels, the thing that God's been showing me the last few years, this happened, a decade ago or more. But the last few years, God's really been showing me that no matter what we believe, the more that we understand specific truths, the less footholds that these evil entities have in our lives. And the more that we don't get deceived by like the Illuminati and all the agendas and politicians and society's lies, the only way to really get back our own personal power in our own life, to have not only self-control over ourselves, but to be able to govern what we think and not be swayed easily by, what they're trying to convince us to do and join in with and comply with. The only way we can do that is by replacing all the lies we've been taught our whole lives about everything. There's been some aspect or element of lie in everything we were taught. And when we replace that with truths that are more solid, or at least one notch higher, one step higher, one step further down that path of truth, we're never going to maybe know all truth, but it's not an excuse to not step the next step when we're presented with that truth. And when we can just see, wow, what I'm believing, this actually has an element of lie, and let go of that lie. It's toxic, it's hurting us, and see the positivity in there's a new truth. Sometimes we get overwhelmed by this. And I've been saying for a long time, God showed me visions of everything that we were all taught. It's like we're in quicksand. We don't even know it. We're all just totally under. And in
Oh
order for
yeah.
us to each get out of that, we have to wade through the waters. It's like if you can kind of think of an island of quicksand, we're all kind of smothered by this. We all of a sudden realize something's wrong here. We climb out of it. And I'd say that with every single topic and every single micro topic within, underneath the category of every topic, we have to come out of every single lie independently. And some of them are kind of tied together. Once we learn a truth in one area, it can oftentimes spark us learning so many more truths. But we have
Exactly.
to
One
get out of that
That's what you
example.
hope
quicksand.
for.
Yeah,
One
we
ex-
have to get out of that quicksand and get into the waters of agnosticism. And I say this, we need to stop being afraid of being agnostic for a moment, because in order for us to find truth, we've got to literally get to the point where we can honestly say, I don't know. I don't know what the truth is about this thing. And I've stopped being afraid of it, because that water of agnosticism of finally, just instead of saying, no, I do know, I'm going to hold on to this lie that I've always believed because that's how we've always done it, and that's what's always made sense. And that's what everybody else believes. And I'm going to get
no,
punished and socially
we
rejected
have
if I don't.
we have to go with the flow sometimes, because that also helps, right? I'm
Right.
having okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So one example, what I can give with to what you're saying, is that, for you said you don't know difference between the new age and the, no, that you don't know that there are have truth both of, for sure they have both truth. Why? Because if we talk about new age, the people like to slam, hey, these new age people, they have one god or whatever, or different way of seeing things, and they want to create division, and they want to call, okay, who is the real new age? Okay, if we compare the timeline of different cosmologies, the Abrahamic religions are the new kids on the block. So, but the problem is not that. The problem is it's creating division, because the real root information of any religion or spirituality is the same, is to get in Christ consciousness. All right. So the division they are creating of new age and that age, the new age are the Abrahamic religion, so that the people know the real truth knowledge is, have all the religion have the same, be it Abrahamic or Eastern or any other, Western or shamanic, whatever. The root information is the truth, to find the divine within. So what this controller have done is that, even being awake, many are one of these problems, that you are new age, you are that, and creating division. But all they are saying is, love the divine, you are part of the divine, the only way to the divine is through every one of us. That's what everyone is saying. So this new age thing, I'm just bringing it, I'm not saying because you said, I'm just saying because there's a lot of comments. Even there were people attacking even Evelyn in some comments, about this in the post. So I'm just saying, this new age shit, the people need to understand what is the real. If there is no new age, no, it's old age, it's all the same. And if you want to really compare, as I said, who is the real new age, we all know who is it, because if we dig in, so the everyone in the Facebook community, that there's so much of division because of this. The problem is, we have to freaking give up judgment and start seeing with love everything. That's the freaking problem. Because when we are judging everything, we are going to create the differences. We're going to find the differences, right? Because we want to feel the special. We want to be the one, and we are the chosen one. It's nothing, right? We all are the children of God or the Creator, and we all are the chosen one. Once we start judging, many things is going to solve on a personal level, on your community level, on your country level, or on this level of this whole realm. We need to stop judging and start loving, right? That's what is going to help and make us things that gonna be more easier for the people to see. Because these controllers are doing, I always say that in all my podcasts, that these controllers are making sure that we stay divided on every aspect of our, on everything. So if they have us divided on the most fundamental, religious spiritual aspect of our compassion we have with the divine, if they have us divided there, nothing can unite us, right? But we are not seeing the message, the real message of each and every spiritual cosmology that exists, we know of, or that exists beyond these lands that we don't know of. They all have the same teaching. They're all going to have the same teaching, because in the end, that's what is the triumph. Nothing else. Nothing else. As I said before, the materialism. What? Because we want to materialize everything, our religion, our politics, our everything, right? And that consumerism, right? Destroying everything, right? So these are a couple of few solutions that can make many things go right on track for us as a human species. Because everything happening to us on a personal level is in a way interconnected to the collective. Because the changes we want to see outside, we need to start doing within ourselves, in our personal environment, so it flows, right? uh, all the problems we are seeing is in the world. It's not that, oh, I don't want to do something, I cannot do anything, right? Yeah. But every vibration, every thought, every emotion is right, starts from there. They say, the you are what you think, right? You are what you think, right? If I think that my God is the best and the only God, so screw everybody else. Screw every way or science or art or culture or wisdom of all these hundreds and thousands of years that have been shared by everybody. But now, all in different ways, in every aspect that we could freaking fight for each other, for our football freaking team or our country or for or my community or my or flat earth, or there are many different, because if you really take out the materialism, it doesn't matter the earth is flat or round, because it's not freaking material, right? It doesn't matter your God is Jesus or Krishna or Wakantanka or whoever, right? It's just your compassion. It's just that we are gratitude. So this is where they try to. So I think one of the messages of this, if there is an encounter or incidents or connection or experience of this kind of with beings like this, it also shows that in reality nothing is material, right? This is what is a dream, right? When we wake up from the dream, when we wake up from this dream, we're going to know that this is a dream. This was a dream, right?
Yeah, have you guys seen a lot of information recently? It seems like the internet's been flooded with information showing that everything is made of a light vibration. Like even our bodies, all matter is made of light. And also they say sound, but I would have to send you guys some videos to show you, because I can't explain it yet, but I really understand what they're talking about. But I know what you mean when you say we've got to get away from thinking with these very legalistic religious beliefs. And we also, when we go into thinking with, like you said, we think of it as new age movement, but it's old age movement. Just like you said, when we go into just one way of thought, whether it's religion or new age, we kind of get stuck. And when we can just see that there's truth in all of it, just like you were saying, that's where I came to that realization as I went from Christianity in 2012 to Judaism, to Messianic Judaism, to Hebrew roots. And then I was like, nope, I'm done with religions. And then I even studied some Catholicism, some Hinduism, some Islam. I studied all kinds of things. I started noticing, just like you're saying, everybody out there who believes in some kind of God, whether they call themselves religious or not, they are really trying to seek that higher power. And then there's people in the New Age community that call God the universe. And some of them will talk to the universe or the spirit, and I think it's all true.
It's the commonality between all of them.
Yeah. And I don't think that God's religious. I've told Christians before, because I used to be heavy duty Christian. I was a leader in the church. I was never paid for this, but I helped to lead music, and I did all kinds of things. I volunteered all the time. I was up on stage a lot. And I would tell people, nowadays, I tell people, God is not a Christian God. He's not the God of Christianity. They're like, yes, he is. He's our God. I'm like, no, he's everybody's. And the word universe, actually, God's the one that showed me the word uni means one, and verse, a verse is many different words put together. And what is God called in the Bible? It says, and the word became flesh and dwelt among us. God became flesh and dwelt among us. He is the word. He is the verse. A verse is many words. He is the one word. Universe. Una is one. Verse is many words, right? Words. He is the multi-words. He's the one multi-words. And yeah, so he's the word. He's the living word. Yeah.
Sound too.
Yeah, and he spoke us all into being. He is the word. So I just see it so differently now. And it's just invigorating to see that God and everything that we thought is not all boxed in like we thought it was. That's why in some ways people think that I'm very strong in my beliefs, but in other ways they almost feel like I don't know what I believe when they listen to me talk, because they don't understand what I'm saying. And yet I've developed this whole new way of thinking. And I feel like I sense that from you guys, that you have this, it's like we've ripped the lid off the box. We've ripped the roof off of this boxed in mentality that we've all had. And now we're just searching for everything, and we're finding all these amazing things.
Yeah, we don't leave any stones unturned in our pursuit of the truth.
Oh yeah, we have gone deeper with all our podcasts, and we had some amazing stuff. We have dig in from every aspect to, yeah, road. It's there is only one God, or all God is one. I don't see any difference in that. Okay, I don't mean to upset anybody or any religion, right? It's I think that's what we have to see and understand, because any religion or any spiritual belief which makes you hate another or makes you feel superior shouldn't be a spirituality, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
agreed.
and there's a whole topic in itself, right? Uh, about the pineal gland and the kundalini awakening and the energy centers, right? And
Christos.
doing exactly, and the fasting, and there's many different aspects, right, of being in harmony. But it's the thing, it's all been demonized, right? Uh but as I said, if it's put in a scientific way, and then you can practice it just because it has technical words in it, right? That's what has been done, as I said, for hundreds of years. It's the same information, just rewrapped in different words and given. So I think even with the religion is the same thing, um, in every way. So that's what I think we all have to start seeing and respecting, and be open, because that's why we all are flat earthers, right? Because we are open. And as long there's no bad in being passionate your spiritual belief. That's how we are supposed to be, right? And that's all good until you start pointing fingers at others, right? That's not right. Beat any, because as I said, this realm is beautiful because it's have variety of everything, right? Of plants, animals, humans, and everything. Imagine just being one variety of everything, how boring it's gonna be, right? So anyway, we are almost freaking 3 hours. For sure there's a lot to say and a lot to connect uh, to this and the things coming in the future. So I think also that the seraphims are like teaching us, what we might become, right? So anyway, we're gonna have our last thoughts, guys, and we're gonna be wrapping up. uh, who wants to go first?
So I'll go first. I know I've been very quiet here in my little corner of the screen, but it's been a very interesting podcast today. I always love hearing Meg talk and and teach us about all these spiritual things. So I want to thank Meg for coming to our live stream today, and I hope that she can come back some other time. And well, hope to see you all for the next live stream. So good night.
Oh yeah, you are really waiting for the second one too, right? The next one is your favorite, the Mazarot, right? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah, Evelyn. Thanks for being here, and yes, next week expand on that one, the awaited one also, right? So awesome. Thanks, Evelyn. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I'll say goodnight. Meg, it was great to meet you here, and thanks for sharing all your stories and information and insight. It was really nice to have you here for the beginning of the year. First show we're having, and Evelyn, always great to see you too. And thanks everyone in the chat for hanging out and hanging and giving it, spending your time with us. Means a lot, and it's always great to see you guys. So it was a great conversation tonight. I learned a lot. It's always fun to talk about things that we're not really sure of and might not get concrete answers for, but we experience these, you might call, otherworldly happenings that guide us through life, and to get in touch with that side seems to be happening in all different kinds of cultures. So no matter what you call that inner conversation, I think as long as it goes well and it's for the better of everybody, in the more dire situations, you can navigate this crazy world that's being superimposed on us. You'll be able to navigate a little or a lot more easy, so it is about the, and science, they would compare it quick to science. They'll call everything dark energy that they can't explain, and the Globies want to give them 95% of everything possible is dark energy, dark matter, and they can't explain either one through other than your gravity moves things that you can't see. How about that, right? So there's some sort of weird non-physical comparison there. And I'll take this side all day, because that crazy pseudoscience stuff that they're being taught is what got us into this mess. And yeah, the dots do connect, and connecting them is a lot of fun. I love the show, bro. It's great to be here. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you soon. All right.
Oh yeah, absolutely, brother. You know what we are going through, right? You understand a lot more than the words what we could define, but you are there, brother. So awesome. Thanks for being here, bro.
All day, bro. We'll see you next week, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then we have Meg. Meg, thanks for being here. And your last word.
Yes, I wanted to thank the three of you for letting me come on here. And Evelyn, thank you for inviting me, and really appreciate what you guys are doing. And thank you also, Vikka, for just sharing your story with us. The last thing I guess I want to say is just to anyone out there listening, don't be afraid of feeling that sense like you don't know what the truth is about something. Because like I was saying before, we all have to feel like we're kind of drowning in those, that quicksand, until we realize that what we're believing about something isn't quite on. And that's why we feel like we can't get our feet up under us, especially when our belief systems are tested by the trials that we go through. And so sometimes we have to try to drag ourselves out of that into that kind of stream of water of agnosticism, where we don't know what we think and we feel like we're being carried down a river. Don't worry, trust in the universe or God or whatever you believe in, because the things that are not part of the truth will be washed away in that process, and just let it go. Everything that is truth that you used to believe, it's going to be kind of like fastened to you like keys or chains on a belt, different little gems or something that are going to be part of your belt because it's part of the truth. And you're going to eventually keep seeking and seeking, and you're going to find that rock, that solid rock of truth about that topic. Just keep seeking it, and don't fear the agnosticism, which, just to clarify, in case someone doesn't know, I don't know who all we're talking to here. And if everybody knows, the agnosticism is where you just don't know. You just feel like you don't know what you believe. And in order to go from believing lies of like quicksand, the quicksand of lies, to getting to the rock of truth, we have to wade through the waters of agnosticism to get there. And we have to do that with every single thing. So if you think back in your life to times where you changed your belief system, you actually had to go through a time of embracing the fact that you didn't know. That's part of the process. Don't fear it. We're always taught that we have to have a solid belief system because it keeps us from ever getting in those waters of agnosticism and figuring out like what really is true here. I don't know, and looking for the truth. And then we finally get on a rock of truth, And from there, we can keep building and building. And when we go through this process over and over with one truth after another, identifying a lie, seeking truth in that area, identifying another lie, seeking more truth, and we keep going and going and going, we stop being afraid of those waters of agnosticism, of not knowing. And we start to realize there really is solid truth. People think that truth is not knowable. There's a lot of people nowadays that they think the truth can't be known. It's just somewhere, flying out there in space. And like, we're never going to be able to know it. But God knows what the truths are. He loves us. He wants to get those truths to us. If you believe in the universe wants you to know the truth. It doesn't want you to stay in the dark. And so we feel so insecure in not knowing that we want to cling to a faulty belief. But when we try it out in our life and we try to live it, it doesn't work. And so when we realize that, we just need to accept that it's okay. Every single one of us has had to face a lot of things we once thought were true and realize we were told lies. And then we just start floating down that river of agnosticism. I've started enjoying it. I like it. It's kind of like a nice tube ride down the river on a warm day when the water's warm. It doesn't feel so scary anymore for me because I know that there's so many rocks of truth and I'm excited to get to them now. So I don't fear it. I jump into the waters of agnosticism. I'm like, you know what? I have no idea. That's why earlier I was saying, I really don't know about angels. I've studied a lot. I've had some experiences. I don't know, because I'm fine with that, because that's how I find the most truth. So I hope that simplifies back what I was saying. I thank you so much, you guys, for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And I hope something I said contributed. We all have to hope that. And I think it's the Holy Spirit's work in all of our lives that helps us to be able to say something that might reach someone. And then it's the Holy Spirit in their life who takes the words that he puts through our mouth and he reaches them in their life with that. And then he uses them, and he just uses us all like the body of Christ. They talk about that in the church. And I don't know what the similarity would be with that, with a new age effect, but it's like the collective. He uses us as a collective whole. It's beautiful. I really love seeing what's going on in the world, that people are really getting it and really pursuing truth. And I'm just so proud of you guys for getting on here and doing this. Really appreciate it. There's so many people out there that are literally counting on people like you guys to be encouraging and be feeding them truth. And you're really spiritually feeding people, and you're giving water and light to people spiritually, and they need it. And we so appreciate what you guys are doing. Love you all from our hearts. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Meg, for being here, and thanks for all your input. Definitely, yes, a lot to take in for a lot of people. Absolutely. The thing is, we have to be open for change. We shouldn't be scared of change because it's for our own good, right? It's just the next level, just the next step. So awesome. Thanks, everybody. So this is the thing. There it is. I don't know why, what, when, how. Maybe we don't have all the answers. Maybe we scratch a bit here of the surface here and there to what it could be, but it's all for the what the divine have for us for the future, right? All I can say is that I feel more strong. I thank the creator for the courage and for the experience, because as I said, I don't know why, how, that connection, I feel that direct energy connection also, right? I also take this mark as a medal for me, and this whole experience in itself has, for me, it's like a level up. I really feel it, so. And there are many, many, many different more connections and message in this, and maybe with time it comes out more, but maybe some ideas I could have, but so some of the things I could even feel is like these angels is like only a consciousness field of fluctuating energy within the soul. Like it's the soul, it's the purpose of connecting us with the one source. This little human being wires into it and becomes more of what it can be, becoming more of a bridge from the manifested world to the unmanifested. I hope it serves. So thank you everybody for being here. Thanks Evelyn, thanks Jean, thanks Meg, and thanks everybody in the chat. We have been away for almost a month, and so amazing to see all our people back again. Really love you all, and make sure you guys check us out on the next episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host Vikka Draziv signing out, guys. Bye guys, see you all soon next week. An awesome one. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, you guys. Thank you.